Hello everyone, and welcome to Fictional Vortex. So we are back with an interesting series on what if Naruto had the legacy of Yusei Fudo. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. In a tunnel in the satellite, a boy was holding a stopwatch waiting for something to come down the tunnel. All of a sudden there was a sound of an engine. A red duel runner came blazing down the tunnel at 200 miles per hour and stopped in front of the boy. The rider, wearing a black shirt with a pattern in red with a navy blue jacket with brown leather gloves on his hands with black jeans with matching brown boots on his feet, took off his helmet and revealed a face of an 18-year-old teenager with tan skin and spiky black hair with yellow streaks going along the sides. He then looked up at the girl with a questing look on his face. "So Rally, how fast was I that time?" asked the teenager. "From the time you say, you totally max out your duel runner," replied Rally with a smile. "That very good, Rally. We should go tell the others," said Yusei. Yusei got off his duel runner and he and Rally went over to a tent where the others were sitting on a couch. When they got into the tent, the three boys on the couch relaxing until they noticed Yusei and Rally coming in. "Yusei, Rally, what are you two doing in here?" asked a boy named Tank. "We came here to tell you something important," replied Rally. "What is it?" asked another boy named Nervin. "Well, Yusei just max out his duel runner," replied Rally with a smile. "That's great, Yusei. So does this mean you will be able to leave the satellite?" asked the boy Blitz. "Yes, Blitz, and once I reach New Domino City, I am going after Jack and get back Stardust Dragon so we can all finally leave this place," replied Yusei. "But when and how are you going to leave the satellite?" asked Nervin. "I am going to leave at midnight through the tunnel that connects the satellite to New Domino City," replied Yusei. "But Yusei, the tunnel is always filled with trash coming from New Domino City 24 hours a day," said Tank. "You're right, Tank, but you see, once a month at midnight they stop filling the tunnel with trash and do a check on the system. A maintenance hatch opens for only 3 minutes and tonight happens to be the night it happens," replied Yusei. "Are you sure you'll be able to defeat Jack and get back Stardust Dragon, Yusei?" asked Blitz. "Of course Yusei will be able to defeat Jack, so don't worry about," replied Rally. "Rally's right, Blitz. I will defeat Jack and get Stardust Dragon back if it is the last thing I do," said Yusei. "So what do we do until it is midnight, Yusei?" asked Nervin. "We should all get some rest until it is time. If you need me, I am going to be in my room until it is time going over my deck," replied Yusei. With that, Yusei left them in the tent. Once Yusei got into his room and went inside, he went under his bed and pulled out a metal box. He then sat on his bed and opened the box up. Yusei pulled out a picture of him at his 13th birthday party with his adoptive parents Alexis and Yugi Muto and their friends. He then pulled out his first deck he built using cards given to him by his parents and their friends with some cards he added to make the most powerful deck ever built. As he went through his old deck, he came across the 3 Egyptian god cards given to him by his father Yugi and the 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons and their fusion monster Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon given to him by Seto Kaiba, along with his other powerful cards from his deck as well. Yusei remember when he was 14 when his parents were killed in a car accident and he was forced to live in the satellite with his new friends, even thought Seto Kaiba tried to stop it from happening. Yusei then pulled out a blue piece of cloth with a metal plate, a leaf design on it and a picture of 4 people. In the picture was a man with silver hair wearing a mask covering the bottom of his face with the same piece of cloth with the metal plate, wearing it like a headband covering his left eye. The 3 other people were 3 kids all wearing the same headband. One was boy wearing white shorts and a blue t-shirt with black hair and eyes with a snide look on his face. The second was a beautiful girl with pink hair and green eyes wearing a red dress and black shorts. When Yusei saw the girl, it made him blush a deep red. Yusei then got a sad look on his face when he looked at the last kid, who was a boy with spiky blonde hair, blue eyes with whisker marks on his face, wearing an orange jumpsuit, smiling with a thumbs up sign with a necklace around his neck. Hard to believe that was me back then with Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi Sensei, and me, the village hidden the Leaf's #1 hyperactive knucklehead ninja Naruto Uzumaki. Until that day Sasuke left to go to Orochimaru and the entire village betrayed me for failing to bring him back and exiled me, and even betrayed by the people that I thought were my friends," thought Yusei, angry, taking out the same necklace that the blonde hair boy was wearing in the picture from under his shirt and holding it in his fist as he remembered that day. Flashback 6 years ago outside the village hidden in the leaves. Naruto had just failed to keep his promise to the girl he loved, Sakura, to bring back Sasuke no matter what, and thinking how he was going to break it to her and tell Lady Tsunade the mission had failed. When he finally got to the gates of the village, Naruto saw a crowd of people gathered with Tsunade and Sakura with them. "Grandma Tsunade, what is going on here?" asked Naruto, confused. "We're here, demon, to kick you out of the village for failing to bring back the Uchiha kid to us," replied one of the villagers. "You can't do that," said Naruto. "But I can, Naruto," said Tsunade, speaking up. "What do you mean you can?" asked Naruto. "You failed to complete your mission, and because of the council complying about the danger you pose as the host of the nine-tailed fox, I have no choice but to exile you from the village and the land of fire, and also strip you of your rank as a Shinbo." "I am very sorry, Naruto," said Tsunade. "I tried my hardest to bring Sasuke back. Tell them, Sakura," said Naruto, looking straight at Sakura. "Why are you looking at me for, Naruto? You failed to keep your promise to me. Now just leave me alone and never come back here again, demon," replied Sakura, looking away. When Sakura said those words, Naruto started to cry. He turned away from everyone and ran off as fast as he could away from the village, hearing the villager calling him demon in the distance. When Naruto got a few miles away, he dropped to the ground and cried, wondering why everyone hated him for have the nine-tailed fox sealed in him. All of a sudden he felt his mind started to drift and everything went black. When Naruto woke up, he found himself in front of Kyuubi's cage with her in her human form, which was that of a young woman with blood-red hair and eyes with fox ears and 9 foxtails, looking at him with sadness in her eyes. "Kyuubi, what am I doing here?" asked Naruto, looking at the demon who he thought as a mother. "Well, you're here because I have decided to give you a chance to start a life somewhere else where you will be hated by people who see as a demon," replied Kyuubi. "What do you mean, start a life somewhere else?" asked Naruto, more confused. "Well, since you can't be a ninja anymore and the fact the Akatsuki will be coming after you to get my powers, I am going to give you a new body the same age as you are now and send you far away from the elemental countries to another place where you can start over with a new name and maybe with a family," replied Kyuubi. "That sounds like a plan. So when can you start?" asked Naruto. "I can start right now, but using this process will come with a price," said Kyuubi. "What kind of price?" asked Naruto, scared. "Using this process will use up all my powers and it will cost me my life," replied Kyuubi, sad. "But why do you have to die, Kyuubi? You are like a mother to me and I can't lose you," said Naruto. "I have to do this, Naruto, as I want to keep you safe alive, and besides it will keep the Akatsuki from completing their plans to use my powers. Do you understand?" replied Kyuubi. "I understand, Kyuubi. I am ready to let you go and start a new life," said Naruto. "That's a good you understand. Now let's begin the process," said Kyuubi. With that, red chakra started to come out of the cage and wrap around Naruto and change him. His hair changed from slightly spike blonde hair to very spiky black hair with yellow highlights. The whisker marks on his face disappeared and his face took on a mature look, and finally his blue eyes turned from blue to a deep amethyst color. Naruto looked at Kyuubi and saw she was fading away and was smiling at him. He then blacked out as his physical body was covered by gold light and disappeared from the forest floor. Meanwhile, in New Domino City, the king of games Yugi Muto was talking to his wife Alexis, who he met a few years after she graduated from Duel Academy and after dating for 2 years had gotten married. They were talking about adopting a kid since Alexis could not have any. As they were walking, they saw a bright flash of gold light coming from Ally and decided to go check it out. When they got there, they saw a 12-year-old wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans with white sneakers on the ground out cold. "Where this kid come from?" asked Alexis, looking at her husband. "I don't know, Alexis, but we should ask his name when he wakes up," replied Yugi. At that moment Naruto started to come to. When he opened his eyes, he saw a woman with blonde hair and green eyes with a man with tricolor hair up in spikes with amethyst eyes standing over him. "Who are you two and where am I?" asked Naruto, looking at the man and women. "My name is Alexis Muto and this is my husband Yugi Muto. You're in New Domino City," replied Alexis. "What is your name, young man, and where are your parents?" asked Yugi. "My name is Yusei Fudo and I don't have any parents," replied Naruto, quickly coming up with a new name. "That very sad, Yusei," said Yugi. "Yusei, since you have no parents, how would you like for me and my husband to adopt you as our son?" said Alexis. "Why would you two take me in since you just met me?" asked Naruto, stunned. "Because you are alone and me and Alexis have talked a while about adopting a child," replied Yugi. So how would you like to be our son Yusei? Asked Alexis. I think that would be nice, replied Naruto smiling. With that they took Naruto home with them. A few days later he was officially their son Yusei Fudo Mutu. Over the next few months Yugi and Alexis taught their son Yusei all duel monsters and showed him how to play it. Yusei quickly learned the game and was pretty good at it and built a deck. By the time his 13th birthday came around, all of Yugi and Alexis' friends had come to celebrate Yusei's birthday and each gave him all their best cards since they all were retired from dueling. Yugi gave his son his deck as a gift saying he believed Yusei was going to be the next king of games. That night Yusei went to bed happy he had a family at last. End of flashback. Yusei then pulled a card out of his old deck and it showed a picture of a woman with blood-red hair and eyes with fox ears and 9 foxtails wearing an old Japanese dress with a katana strapped to her side. The card name was Kyubi Queen of the Foxes 83,500 Def 2500 Lev 7. Yusei remember when he asked Pegasus to make the card as a tribute to his friend Kyubi. Yusei then put the picture and his headband back in the box as he had left his old life behind a long time ago. He then looked at his old deck and took out his new deck he built. He quickly decided he need every powerful card he had in order to defeat Jack and get Stardust Dragon back. He took both of his decks and shuffled them together to make a bigger deck with he then put in the holder on his left arm. He then got up and looked down at his deck. You better watch out Jack, because soon I am going to come after you and got back my Stardust Dragon, thought Yusei with anger in his eyes. In New Domino City the time was 12:30 a.m. and a 18-year-old teenage girl was walking the streets looking like she was trying to find someone. She was wearing a pink t-shirt with a red jacket with blue jeans and black sneakers. She had long pink hair that came down just past her knees with green eyes and was wearing a Hidden Leaf Village headband in her hair. The girl's name was Sakura Haruno and she was here on a mission in New Domino City to find Naruto and bring him back to the village by the orders of the 5th Hokage Lady Tsunade so he could become Hokage since the village had realized they lost one of their best ninja. Over the 6 years he had being exiled from the village Sakura realized that she was in love with Naruto and not Sasuke since Naruto was always there for her and was the one who had saved her from the Sand Ninja Gaara and wanted to find Naruto and tell him how sorry she was for treating him like crap and that she was grateful for everything he did for her. I've been in this city for 6 weeks now and there been no sign of Naruto or his chakra signal. So where he could be hiding since Lady Tsunade told me she felt like Naruto was around here somewhere in this city, thought Sakura. As Sakura continued walking she came out of the alley and came out near a bridge and saw a teenage boy on a red dual runner about the same age as her with black spiky hair with yellow highlights on the sides with amethyst eyes and tan skin wearing a black t-shirt with a red pattern on it with a navy blue jacket, black jeans and brown gloves and boots. Sakura then felt a chakra signal identical from Naruto's coming from the boy and then suddenly saw the necklace that Tsunade gave Naruto hanging around his neck. Sakura put this all together and realized she had found Naruto but somehow he had a new body as she could tell this wasn't a transformation jutsu. I finally found you Naruto, thought Sakura smiling and prepared to surprise him. Meanwhile Yusei had stopped to rest from his duel in the tunnel with Officer Trudge and thinking about how he was going to pay back Jack for betraying him and their friends and finally got back Stardust Dragon. All of a sudden Yusei felt a pair of arms wrap around him and heard a female voice say, I finally found you Naruto. When Yusei heard his old name said and the voice sounded familiar. It only took him a second to realize the voice belonged to his old teammate Sakura Haruno. Yusei then had a look of anger in his eyes and decided to get Sakura off of him. Get the hell off of me, shouted Yusei and shoved Sakura off his back and sent her to the ground on her butt hard. What the hell did you do that for Naruto? Asked Sakura getting off the ground rubbing her butt. The name's not Naruto, it's Yusei Fudo and who are you? Asked Yusei looking at Sakura lying. It's me your old teammate Sakura Haruno Naruto. I know you're lying about not knowing me because I can see it in your eyes that you are lying and you know me. Besides you're still wearing the necklace Lady Tsunade gave you, replied Sakura. Yusei realized right there he had been caught lying and decided to ask Sakura a question. You're right Sakura, it is me but I go by the name Yusei now. So what are you doing here in New Domino City anyways? Asked Yusei. I came here to bring you back to the village by the orders of Lady Tsunade so you can become Hokage, replied Sakura. Why should I go back to the same village that hated me for having a demon sealed in me? Asked Yusei. Because everyone misses you and we were wrong to force you out of the village in the first place. Besides, I came to tell you that I am sorry for treating you like crap all the time and also that I am in love with you," replied Sakura with tears in her eyes. "Well, you and everyone in the village can go to hell before I come back and become Hokage after what you and everyone did, and I will never forgive you for what you did to me that day when you called me a demon. Besides, I have to take care of some unfinished business with an old friend," replied Yusei with venom in his voice. "What kind of unfinished business, and with who?" asked Sakura, trying not to cry. "If you Jack Atlas, and he stole the first duel runner I built along with my Stardust Dragon card, and now I am going to make him pay for betraying me and my friends in a turbo duel and get my Stardust Dragon back," replied Yusei. "You're going after someone to get back a stupid card," said Sakura angry. Sakura then threw a punch at Yusei, trying to hit him in the head. Sakura looked in surprise as Yusei caught her fist in his hand, and he then kicked both her legs from underneath her and sent her to the ground hard on her back. Sakura looked up at Yusei and saw he had a look of anger that said she had just crossed a line she shouldn't have crossed. "That stupid card means everything to me and my friends, as it is what is going to get all of us out of the satellite once and for all," replied Yusei in a hateful tone. "I am sorry, Naruto. I didn't realize that card means that much to you," said Sakura, getting up. "It does. Now leave the city, Sakura, and go back to the village and never return, as I don't want to ever see you near me again," said Yusei, looking at her with hate and anger. With that, Yusei got on his duel runner and put on his helmet and rode away, leaving Sakura alone. When he left, Sakura started to break down in tears as she realized that she had lost the Naruto she remembered. After she stopped crying, she decided she would not give up on him until he realized how sorry she was for ruining his life 6 years ago. Sakura then ran off in the direction Yusei duel runner was heading. After running at full speed for 10 minutes, Sakura came to a clearing near a bridge and saw Yusei on his duel runner looking up at a teenager his age, dressed all in white with blonde hair and deep blue eyes. They both appeared to be talking, and Sakura got closer and could hear their conversation. "So Yusei, you finally made it. I hope Officer Trudge wasn't a problem. He was just doing what I pay him to do," said the blonde-haired teenager. "I didn't come here to talk, Jack. Where is my Stardust Dragon?" said Yusei. "So you came here to get your card back, and I guess you want your duel runner back as well," replied Jack. "No, I don't need it anymore, Jack," said Yusei. "So it is just the card. So how is your new duel runner working, since it seems you got over losing the other one?" said Jack. "I got no complaints. So how is the one you stole from me doing? Still running good, I hope," replied Yusei. "That's just like you, Yusei. You could never let anything go, could you?" said Jack. "I had enough, Jack. Now where is my Stardust Dragon?" demanded Yusei. "You mean this Stardust Dragon?" said Jack, holding the card in his hand. "How could you take it, Jack? You know that card meant everything to us and our friends. It was supposed to get all of us out of the satellite," said Yusei. "Well, it certainly helped me when I got to New Domino City. So to show my appreciation, you can have your precious card back. I certainly don't need any more," said Jack, throwing the Stardust Dragon at Yusei, who caught it in his hand. Yusei looked at the card for a second and threw it back at Jack, who caught it in his hand. "I thought you wanted your card back, Yusei?" asked Jack, confused. "Oh, I want it back, but I want to make you pay for what you did even more. After I defeat you in a duel, then I will take back my Stardust Dragon," replied Yusei. Sakura had enough of listening to them talking and came out from her hiding place to confront Yusei. "What are you doing here, Sakura? I told you to go back to the village," asked Yusei, looking at Sakura. "I came here to see what you were up to. I thought you came here to get back your card and didn't have to face this guy?" asked Sakura. "Well, what I do is none of your business, Sakura," replied Yusei. Meanwhile, Jack was watching Yusei and Sakura talk and decided to speak up. "Hey Yusei, who is this girl you talking to?" asked Jack. "I happen to be an old friend of his. The name's Sakura Haruno," replied Sakura. "So you're a friend of Yusei?" asked Jack, smiling. "She's no friend of mine and it's time for her to leave," replied Yusei. "I am not leaving until you come back with me," said Sakura. "How about this, you can come with Yusei as he duels me, and if that doesn't happen, then I will call sector security on the both of you and you can both be sent to the facility," said Jack. "You got a deal, Jack," said Yusei. With that, Jack got on his duel runner and Sakura got on Yusei's duel runner with him, and they headed towards the Kaiba Dome. As they were heading there, Yusei looked at Sakura and decided to tell her something. "Sakura, after this duel is over, I want you leave the city and go back to the village like I told you before," said Yusei. Yeah, like I am going back to the village without you, replied Sakura. That was not a request but a order, said Yusei. With that they rode in silence. After 20 minutes they reached the Kaiba Dome. Welcome to Kaiba Dome, Yusei. Pretty, isn't? Said Jack. This place is amazing, said Sakura, looking around in awe. It is a nice place, replied Yusei. Well, now Yusei, think for a minute about what it would be like to have this place filled with people chanting your name every night, dueling here. But that's not going to happen, because once you lose I am to make sure you get sent back to the satellite, and you will have tell your friends you gave up Stardust Dragon so you could duel me and lost because you got greedy with revenge, said Jack. That not going to happen, Jack, because you are the one going to lose here, replied Yusei. Like you could do that since you lost our last duel, and you know what, Yusei, I going to beat you by using your own Stardust Dragon against you, said Jack, putting the card in his deck. What are we waiting for, Jack? Let's start this duel already, said Yusei. With that they both got on their duel runners and prepared to duel. Yusei then looked over to Sakura. Sakura, you better hop on my duel runner with me, as it isn't very safe to be on the track during the duel, said Yusei. So you're worried about me now, Naruto? Asked Sakura. No, I am not. It's just you will only get in the way, and you better start calling me Yusei since that's my name now. So are you going to hop on or not? Said Yusei. Of course I will hop on, replied Sakura, hopping on Yusei's duel runner sitting behind him. With that both duel runners started up and the duel disc parts came online and the screens displayed Yusei and Jack's life points. Let's duel, shouted Jack and Yusei at the same time, and the duel runners took off around the track. Since I feel like being nice, Yusei, you can make the first move, said Jack. Fine, then I will, Jack. I summon Quillbolt Hedgehog in defense mode, said Yusei. Put a card on his duel disc and a hedgehog with bolts on it appeared in defense mode with 800 def points. Your turn, Jack, said Yusei. Well then I summon Mad Archfiend in attack mode, said Jack. There was a flash of light and a skeleton figure with red hair with a mouth where the chest was appeared with an attack of 1800. Now I attack your Quillbolt Hedgehog with my Mad Archfiend, said Jack. Mad Archfiend then attacked Quillbolt Hedgehog and destroyed it, and Yusei lose a 1000 life points. Jack 4000 LP, Yusei 3000 LP. This duel is starting off just like our last one, Yusei, with you losing precious life points, said Jack, smiling. I am far from finished, Jack. Now I summon Junk Synchron in attack mode, said Yusei. There was a flash of light and a little man made of metal appeared and looked like it had an engine built into it. Now I use Junk Synchron special effect to bring back Quillbolt Hedgehog, said Yusei, and Quillbolt Hedgehog appeared next to Junk Synchron. Now I tune my Junk Synchron to my Quillbolt Hedgehog in order to synchro summon Junk Warrior, said Yusei. There was another flash of light and a purple metal warrior with wings appeared on the field with an attack of 2300. Now I attack Mad Archfiend with Junk Warrior, said Yusei. Junk Warrior then destroyed Mad Archfiend with its attack. Jack LP 3500, Yusei 3000. Not bad, Yusei, but now it's my turn and I summon Twin Shield Defender in defense mode, said Jack, as a monster appeared and put its two arms together to form a shield, and its def was 1600. Now I set one card face down, D-Jack. That's strange, it's not like Jack to play defense. What could he be up to? Thought Yusei. Naruto, what are you thinking about? Asked Sakura, curious. Nothing, Sakura, and don't call me Naruto, it's Yusei now. Besides, I need to focus on this duel, replied Yusei. Sakura then closed her mouth and kept on looking at Yusei. Man, Naruto sure has changed a lot in 6 years. He does not act like the goofy kid who pulled pranks on people. Now he acts more mature and seems to be smart, like he is able to keep one step ahead of this guy Jack in this duel, thought Sakura. Now it's my move, Jack, and I summon Speed Warrior in attack mode, said Yusei. A man appear all dressed in gray with his face covered in a goggles and a mask in attack mode, and its attack was 900. Now thanks to Junk Warrior's special effect, Speed's Warrior's attack points are added to his own, said Yusei. Junk Warrior's attack points went from 2300 to 3200. Now thanks to Speed Warrior's special effect his attack points are double. Now Speed Warrior attack his Twin Shield Defender, said Yusei. Speed Warrior's attack went up to 1800 and he destroyed Twin Shield Defender. Thanks to you attacking my Twin Shield Defender, his special effect activates, which cut your Junk Warrior's attack points in half. So much for those attack points, said Jack, as Junk Warrior's attack points went down to 1600. So what, Jack, you still left yourself open for a direct attack, said Yusei. Just as long as that card stays face down, thought Yusei. With that, Junk Warrior attack Jack directly and drop his life points to 1900. Jack LP 1900, Yusei LP 3000. Thanks a lot, Yusei. Now I can activate my trap card Space Gate and add to gate counters to it since you attacked me twice, said Jack, activating his trap card. Fine, I set one card face down and end my turn, replied Yusei. Now it's my turn and I activate the spell card Speed Fusion and send Big Piece Golem and Medium Piece Golem to the graveyard in order to fusion summon Multiple Piece Golem, said Jack. A big figure that appeared to be made out of stone appeared and its attack was 2600. Now I attack your Sped Warrior with my Multiple Golem, said Jack. Multiple Golem then attack Speed Warrior and destroyed it. Since you destroyed me, Speed Warrior Jack, I activate my trap card Defense Draw, which makes the damage your golem cook up 0 and I get to draw another card, said Yusei. It seems you still have some fight left in you, Yusei. Too bad it will not be enough because I activate my golem's special effect, which allows me to break him up and summon the fusion monster to my field. Think it like recycling. But you know all about, right, Yusei? Said Jack as two stone figures, one gray with an attack of 2100 and a brown one with 1600 appeared. Now I activate Medium Piece Golem's special effect, which allows me to bring out Small Piece Golem, said Jack as a little brown stone figure appeared with attack of 1100. That's some rock collection you have there, Jack, said Yusei. Well, you know what they say, Yusei, the more the merrier. Now I summon the tuner monster Dark Resonator, said Jack. A monster dressed in a clock and smiling appeared holding two gold objects in its hand and had an attack of 1300. Now I tune Dark Resonator with Big Piece Golem to synchro summon Red Dragon Archfiend, said Jack. There was a flash of gold light and a red and black dragon with 3 horns growing out of its head appeared and its attack was 3000. That's your most precious monster, said Yusei, surprise. Right you are, Yusei. I only bring it out for special occasions and this is as special as it gets. I was thinking of using him to defeat you until I got a better idea. Now by sending my Space Gate Trap Guard to the graveyard, I special summon the tuner monster Sinister Sprocket. He might be small but he has friends, said Jack as a black spiral monster with a chain around it appeared and had an attack of 900. Now I tune Sinister Sprocket with Medium Piece and Small Piece Golem in order to synchro summon your destruction, said Jack. There was another flash of gold light and a beautiful white dragon appeared with an attack of 2500. Recognize it, Yusei, because should it's your Stardust Dragon, said Jack, smiling. Naruto, is that your card? Asked Sakura, curious. I am afraid it is, Sakura, replied Yusei in angry tone. No wonder you want it back, it's beautiful, said Sakura in awe at the sight of Stardust Dragon. Meanwhile, in another part of New Domino City, a man in a white suit with white hair and blue eyes was watching the duel between Jack and Yusei on a screen. Well, it looks like that satellite Yusei is going to lose this duel to Jack, said a short man named Lazar. I would not count out this boy, Yusei Lazar, said a woman with short blue hair and green eyes named Mina. Oh come on, Ms. Mina, all this boy Yusei has done is what Jack has let him do. Mr. Godwin, let me call sector security and let them arrest this satellite and his little female friend and we can be down with this duel. All you need to do is give me the word, said Lazar. That would not be necessary right now. Besides, the duel is just getting interesting, said Rex Godwin. Oh right, Jack, it's my move. I summon Shield Warrior in defense mode and I switch Junk Warrior in defense mode as well, said Yusei. A warrior with a spear and shield appeared on the field and its def was 1600 and Junk Warrior went into defense mode and its def was 1300. So you say you're planning on hiding behind your monsters? While it's not going to work. I attack your Shield Warrior with my Red Dragon Archfiend and thanks to its effect all your monsters in defense mode are all destroyed, said Jack. Red Dragon Archfiend then attacked Shield Warrior and destroyed it and Junk Warrior at once. Now I attack you directly with Stardust Dragon. I hope you don't feel too bad about your own monster attacking you, Yusei, said Jack. Stardust Dragon then attacked Yusei and inflicted 2500 life points of damage. Jack 1900 LP, Yusei 500 LP. Now it's my turn, Jack. I summon Sonic Chick in defense mode and set 2 cards face down and end my turn, said Yusei as a pink bird with red shoes and a scarf appeared in defense mode with 300 defense points. So your plan on hiding behind a chicken? "Too bad my Red Dragon Archfiend's effect will destroy it," said Jack, smiling. "Don't count on it, Jack. This chicken is in for the long haul," replied Yusei. "We will see about that, Yusei. Now Red Dragon Archfiend attack his Sonic Chick," shouted Jack. Red Dragon Archfiend then attacked Sonic Chick, but after the attack it was still there. "What's going on here? That Sonic Chick should be destroyed," asked Jack, confused. "Maybe it's because of my remote revenge trap card, which deflects your attack and destroys all your monsters in attack mode. Since both your dragons are both in attack mode, they both get destroyed," replied Yusei. "I don't think so, Yusei. Stardust Dragon is going to take one for the team, because I activate its special effect, which allows me to send it to the graveyard in order to keep my Red Dragon Archfiend on the field," said Jack. Stardust Dragon then disappeared in sparks of light. "Don't worry, Yusei, I will now bring back Stardust Dragon so you can see it one more time before you and your female friend are both sent to the facility," said Jack. Stardust Dragon then reappeared on the field ready to do battle. "I don't think so, Jack, because I activate my other trap card, Harmonia Mirror. Since you summon Stardust Dragon with other method other than Synchro Summoning, Harmonia Mirror allows me to have Stardust Dragon fighting on my side," said Yusei. Stardust Dragon then reappeared on Yusei's side of the field. "Well, it's like I said earlier. I don't need it to beat you. I only use it to make this duel more interesting. Now I set 2 cards face down and end my turn," said Jack. "Now it's my turn and I activate the spell card Pot of Greed, which lets me draw 2 cards, and next I activate the spell cards Silver Contrails, which increases Stardust Dragon's attack by 1000 attack points. Now Stardust Dragon attack his Red Dragon Archfiend," shouted Yusei. As Stardust Dragon went on the attack, both Jack and Yusei felt a RMS. After Stardust Dragon's attack, instead of Red Dragon Archfiend being destroyed, Sonic Chick ended up destroyed. "How come Sonic Chick got destroyed?" asked Yusei, confused. "Because I activated my trap card Synchro Deflector, which negated your dragon's attack and destroyed your monster with the lowest attack points, which happened to be your Sonic Chick," replied Jack. "Fine, I set 2 cards face down and end my turn," said Yusei. "Since it's no longer your turn, your dragon loses a power bonus. Now I attack your Stardust Dragon with my Red Dragon Archfiend," said Jack when he suddenly felt the same burning pain in his right arm. "I don't think so, Jack, because I activate my trap card Negate Attack, which stops your attack and ends the battle phase," said Yusei. "Fine, then I set 1 card face down and end my turn," said Jack. "My turn," said Yusei as he draw. Yusei felt the same burning pain in his arm, now stronger. "What going on? My arm feels like it's on fire," thought Yusei. "Are you alright, Naruto?" asked Sakura, noticing that Yusei's right arm was in pain. "Yeah, I am fine, Sakura, and I told you to call me Yusei," replied Yusei. "Now I got the cards I need to win this duel," thought Yusei, looking at his hand. "Hey Yusei, ready to give up yet? Because you look like you're going to lose," said Jack. "Never, Jack. Now I activate the spell card Polymerization to fuse my 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons from my hand to fusion summon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon," said Yusei. There was a bright flash of light and a 3-headed white dragon with blue eyes appeared on the field with 4,500 attack points. "Blue's Ultimate Dragon. That's Seto Kaiba's monster. How did you get your hands on his cards?" asked Jack, surprised. "Because he gave them to me when I was younger. Now I activate the spell card Diffusion to break my dragon apart into the 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons from my graveyard," said Yusei. There was a flash of light and now there was 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons on the field. "If you thought that was all, you have not seen anything, what, Jack? Now I release my 3 dragons in order to summon my most powerful monster. Almighty Protector of the Sun and Sky, I beg of thee, please hear my cry. Transform thyself from orb of light and bring me victory in this fight. I beseech me, grace our humble game. But first I shall call out thy name, winged dragon of Ra," said Yusei, finishing the ancient chant his father Yugi taught him. All of a sudden there was lightning and thunder from the sky and a flash of gold light. When it faded, there now the Egyptian god card, the winged dragon of Ra, with 9,000 attack points. "That's the Egyptian god card, the winged dragon of Ra. I thought it was gone when Yugi Muto died in that car accident 4 years ago. So how did you get your hands on his card?" asked Jack, shocked and sacred. "Because he was my adoptive father and he gave me his deck when I was 13. As you know, Jack Ra's attack points are equal to the combined attack of the monsters used to summon him. Now I attack your red dragon archfiend with the winged dragon of Ra, shouted Yusei. All of a sudden the burning pain came back to both Yusei and Jack's arms. What's burning on my arm? Thought Jack. Yusei looked down at his arm and saw a glowing red mark on it. Where did this mark on my arm come from? Thought Yusei. When they both looked up they saw white light around them and there was a crimson red dragon between. Hey Yusei, is this your doing? Asked Jack. No it isn't, Jack. We should stop this duel right now, said Yusei. I don't think, because I am going to win. I active my quick play spell card, the End of Storm, which destroys all monsters on the field and inflicts 300 points of damage to you, said Jack. Fine, have it your way. I activate my trap card, replied Yusei. All of a sudden the crimson dragon roared and sent out a wind that made both duel runners go offline and blew everyone away. The dragon then flew up to the sky where it roared one more time and disappeared in a flash of white light which knocked out the power of New Domino City. Meanwhile Rex Godwin had seen what had happened on the screen before the power went out. After 20 minutes the power came back on. Mr. Lazar, I want you to call sector security and have that satellite Yusei and his female friend arrested. Do I make myself clear? Said Rex Godwin. Yes, Mr. Godwin. I will call sector security right away, replied Lazar, quickly going to the phone to contact sector security. So it finally begins, thought Rex Godwin. Meanwhile back at the Kaiba Dome, Sakura managed to get to her feet and remember what happened with that strange dragon she saw. She then saw Yusei standing next to her and noticed the strange red mark on his right arm. Naruto, are you okay? Asked Sakura, concerned. Yeah, I am fine, Sakura, replied Yusei. Where did you get this red mark on your arm from? Asked Sakura. I don't know, Sakura, but I think Jack knows, replied Yusei. When they both look over at Jack they notice he had a similar mark on his right arm. Oh right, Jack, tell me where this mark came from, because I know you know about this because the look on your face, said Yusei. I don't know what you are talking about, Yusei, replied Jack. Stop lying, Jack. Tell me where this mark came from right now, demanded Yusei. All of a sudden there was a bright light shine on Yusei and Sakura and the mark on his arm disappeared. Halt right there, Yusei Fudo. This is sector security. You and your female friend are under arrest for trespassing in New Domino City without a permit, said officer. Naruto, who are these men? Asked Sakura. They're sector security and bad news, replied Yusei. So what do we do? Asked Sakura. There's nothing we can do but go with them, replied Yusei. With that they both put their hands up and gave up. In an almost bare courtroom, Yusei and Sakura were sitting in metal chairs with a spotlight on them. A judge was looking at them in the darkness. Well, what do we have here, Mr. Yusei Fudo, and according to your female friend's ID, Ms. Sakura Haruno? They're nothing but a bunch of kids. Well, let's look at the charges, shall we? Said the judge. With that the judge went over the charges against Yusei and Sakura, quickly dismissing them until he got to the most serious one. What do we have here? Illegally entering the limits of New Domino City without a permit. Well, we can't have that now, can we? I think we should put a die track marker on the both of you, said the judge. With that two things came down that looked like lasers and put identical yellow markers on their left cheeks. What is this thing on my face for? Asked Sakura. Sacred. It's tracker so we can keep eye on the both of you, replied the judge. Is so it's supposed to tickle? Asked Yusei mockingly. Very funny, Mr. Yusei Fudo. Now it's time for the punishment for both of you. I think a few months in the facility should straighten both of you out. Once both of your sentences are over you can both go back to the satellite as long as both of you longer duel and step foot in New Domino City again, replied the judge. With that two sector security officers came and took them away. The officers led them to a parking lot and made them get into a wagon that led to the facility. Once Yusei and Sakura sat down the doors close and the wagon started on its way. Naruto, what is this facility the judge talk about? Asked Sakura, confused. It's a prison where people from the satellite go when they break the law, replied Yusei. Then how come we're going there since we didn't break no laws? Asked Sakura. Because I got into New Domino City without a permit through the tunnel that connects the satellite to New Domino City, and since sector security saw you with me when we were caught they probably figured you came with me from the satellite and that's why you got arrested with me. You should have went back to the village like I told you and you would not be here right now with me going to the facility, replied Yusei. Well, like I told you before, Naruto, I am not going back to the village without you, said Sakura. I keep on telling you, Sakura, to call me Yusei since that's my name now, replied Yusei. A old man sitting next to Yusei decide Tog man. Do I know you from somewhere? Because I never forget a face, said the old man. Yusei decide to ignore the old man and look out the window. Now I know where I saw you before. You were at the Kaiba Dome last night when that red dragon appeared and knocked the power out. I was in the neighborhood when that happened, said the old man. You saw all that? Asked Yusei, surprised looking at the old man. Yes, and everyone else in the city saw it too. By the way, my name is Yanagi, explorer and adventurer. What's your name, young man? And the girl sitting next to you? Asked Yanagi. The name's Yusei Fudo, replied Yusei. My name is Sakura Haruno. It's nice to meet you, Mr. Yanagi, replied Sakura. With that, Yanagi asked Yusei where he got the dragon from and started to name a few places where Yusei could have gotten it from. Meanwhile, in Jack's apartment, Jack was tossing and turning, having a dream about the duel between him and Yusei last night. All of a sudden, Jack woke up in a cold sweat and looked at the mark on his arm. Why does my arm burn so much, and why can I not remember what happened last night? Thought Jack. Jack decided to get out of bed and headed out of his room. Mina was busy trying to put flowers in a vase when she heard Jack come out of his room. Good morning, Mr. Atlas, said Mina, bowing. Mina, what happened to me last night? Asked Jack. You don't remember, Mr. Atlas, you duel a satellite named Yusei. It was amazing. You attack him first and he countered it, and you countered him until a power outage saved you from losing, replied Mina. What do you mean losing? I had him on the ropes, said Jack, surprised. Sorry, Mr. Atlas, I didn't mean it like that, said Mina, bowing. Jack decided to go see Rex Godwin and find out what happened last night. Jack then stormed off, not talking to Mina as she was asking him where he was going and telling him that Mr. Godwin told him he should rest. Meanwhile, Rex Godwin office, he was watching Jack and Yusei's duel with Lazar and a man named Zigzix. So you see, Mr. Godwin, the raise in energy was caused when Stardust Dragon and Red Dragon Archfiend did battle, said Zigzix. That's probably why the Crimson Dragon was able to be summoned, Mr. Godwin, added Lazar. But we don't know what would happen if the Crimson Dragon powers were unleashed at once, said Zigzix, concerned. While what I want to know is how those two summoned the Crimson Dragon in the first place, said Godwin. Meanwhile, the wagon had finally reached the facility and everyone was ordered to get out. When Yusei and Sakura got out, a guard scanned their markers with a device and a voice told the guard their ID numbers and their charges. Looks like you two should have stayed in the satellite, said the guard, smiling. With that, they were led in a line through the facility as the guard told them the rules and said if they followed them they would have no problems. After walking for 20 minutes, they came to a stop in a hallway. All right, you all, it's time to head to your rooms. I hope you like the color pale prison gray, said the guard. With that, the guard pressed a button on a device and the doors open. Yusei and Sakura went to a room with 3 beds, and all of a sudden Yanagi run through the doorway and jump on a bed, hugging the pillow. What's wrong with him? Asked Sakura. Well, you see, Yanagi been here a few times and personally I think the food finally got into him, replied the guard. Thanks for the information, said Yusei. With that, the guard left them and went outside. Hey guard, over here, said a tall man with gray spike hair and eyes named Tanner. Yeah, what is it? Asked the guard. I figure I should throw the newcomers a welcome party. You know, teach them the ropes and keep them out of trouble, said Tanner. Well, good luck, new guy, looks like trouble, said the guard, unlocking Tanner's cell. Meanwhile, in Yusei and Sakura's cell, Yanagi was looking at the window with a smile. You know, you two are a lot nicer than my last roommate, said Yanagi. So what are you doing in here anyways? Asked Sakura. Well, you see, I collect rare cards, replied Yanagi. So does everyone else, said Yusei. Well, mine happen to be illegal magic relics, said Yanagi. That sounds cool. I would like to see them, said Yusei. With that, Yanagi took out cards from his cloths and showed them to Yusei and Sakura. So what do you think of my precious treasures? Asked Yanagi. They're very pretty, replied Sakura. Yes, they are. But how did you get them in here? Asked Yusei. Well, I've been here so many times that I learned to sneak my deck past the guards. So where are your cards? Asked Yanagi. I don't have them. Sector security confiscated my deck, replied Yusei sadly. That's too bad. I would have loved to have seen your cards, said Yanagi, disappointed. Oh, I would not count on sector security having your deck anymore, said Sakura, smiling. What do you mean? Asked Yusei, confused. Well, I happen to have your deck right here, replied Sakura, showing Yusei his deck and handing it to him. Yusei quickly looked through his deck and saw that every card was accounted for. How did you get my deck back from sector security? Asked Yusei, surprised. Well, I am a ninja after all. So I pickpocket your deck off the officer when his back was turned when they brought us to the wagon, replied Sakura, smiling. I guess I should thank you for getting my back for me, Sakura, said Yusei. Well, you shouldn't thank me yet, as I have another surprise for you, said Sakura. What do you mean? Asked Yusei. Well, you remember when I grabbed hold of Jack before sector security took us away, said Sakura. Yeah, I remember that happening, replied Yusei. Well, I kind of pickpocket your Stardust Dragon card off of him when he didn't notice, replied Sakura, handing Yusei his Stardust Dragon card along with another card. Thanks, Sakura. But why did you take his Red Dragon Archfiend card too? Asked Yusei, looking at the other card. I didn't. That one I found in a card store and brought it for good luck in trying to find you, replied Sakura. But I thought there was only one copy of Red Dragon Archfiend in the world? Asked Yusei, surprised. You would be wrong, young man. For you see, Pegasus made 2 copies of it. One Jack Atlas has and the other one you now have, which Pegasus gave away as a prize in a tournament and somehow was put up for sale in a store where your friend Sakura got a hold of it, replied Yanagi. Well, thanks again, Sakura. But this still doesn't change the fact I hate you for what happened 6 years ago, replied Yusei. Well, we see about that, replied Sakura. Well, it's a good thing you have your deck back because you are going to need it, said Yanagi. What do you mean? We are not allowed to duel here, said Yusei. You find out soon enough, young man, replied Yanagi. Meanwhile, back in Rex Godwin's office, listening to Zigzix talking. You see, Mr. Godwin, the energy was highest when Jack and Yusei's dragons were attacking each other, said Zigzix. At that moment, Jack come busting through the door and he looked angry. I am sorry, Mr. Godwin. I tried to stop him but he was too fast for me, shouted Mina. Godwin, what's going on here? And what are you two doing watching my duel? Asked Jack, angry. Calm down, Jack. You broke a dozen laws last night and you're lucky your little duel was not shown on the news. Now tell me what you know about the Crimson Dragon, replied Godwin. Yeah, like what? Asked Jack, calming down. I want to know what happened in the duel between you and Yusei last night and how you summoned the Crimson Dragon, said Godwin. All I remember was I was winning against Yusei until this mark on my arm started to burn, replied Jack, showing the mark on his right arm. You are one of the lucky few Jack called a signer. That mark on your arm is a mark of the Crimson Dragon and it means you are destined for great things, said Godwin, bowing as the other did too. Well, I know I am destined for greatness, but Yusei isn't. So why does he have a mark like mine? Asked Jack. You mean that satellite Yusei has one too? Asked Godwin, surprised. So what if he does? He's nothing but a loser, replied Jack. Jack, you have to be sure Yusei had a mark, because if he does it means his disdain for something at Godwin. All Yusei is good for is medium wage, and besides he didn't have one back in the satellite, which means his must be a fake, said Jack. Jack then saw the screen of his duel with Yusei and noticed something. You there, rewind that back a little, shouted Jack. Yes sir, Mr. Atlas, said Zigzix, rewinding the duel. Stop right there and enlarge that image right now, said Jack. Zigzix then stopped the recording and enlarged the image. I don't believe it. That card is Meteor Stream, said Jack, surprised. You are correct, Jack. Good thing the power went out or you would have lost the duel right there to Yusei, said Lazar. What do you mean? I had 900 life points left, shouted Jack. After a minute of thinking, Jack realized what would happen if the duel had gone on. I would have lost to Yusei, said Jack after he finished thinking. Don't worry, Jack, the only ones who know this video exist is everyone in this room, which means you're still undefeated, said Godwin. It doesn't matter. I lost to Yusei. I want to face him again so I can defeat him, said Jack. I am afraid that is impossible right now, said Godwin. What do you mean by that? Asked Jack. Well, you see, I had Yusei and his little female friend sent to the facility and they will not be getting out for a few months, replied Godwin. Then I am going over there to face him right now, shouted Jack. You mean to the facility? I must advise against that, said Godwin. What do you mean? Asked Jack. I mean Yusei is a little tied up right now. Besides, I have something to show to you, replied Godwin. What is it? Asked Jack. It is something very important and I will explain when we got there, replied Godwin. Meanwhile, back at the facility, Yusei, Sakura, and Yanagi were forced to leave their cell by a tall man named Tanner and a bunch of thugs, and now we're in a big gym. Welcome to my duel arena. The rules are simple, everyone duels the first day in. If you duel good you get respect, and if you don't then you will get no respect. Now any questions, rookie? Said Tanner looking at Yusei. Wait a minute, I know you. You're Bulk Tanner the pro duelist. Can I have your autograph? Asked Yanagi. Yeah, but I only write in black and blue, shouted Tanner angry. Man, the old man had that one coming. Tanner hates people bringing up his past, said one of the man. So how about you duel me first, little girl? Asked Tanner looking at Sakura. I don't know how to duel, and besides I don't have a deck, replied Sakura. That's fine, we can give you a reject one we put together and you can learn as the duel goes on, said Tanner. Out of nowhere Yusei grabbed Tanner by his shoulder and tripped him, sending him to the ground hard on his back. Well, looks like you earn yourself a match first, new guy, said Tanner. Fine with me, and besides I am going to teach all about respect, Tanner, said Yusei in an angry tone. What do you mean by that? Asked Tanner. Well, it's not nice to bully people weaker than you. Especially a girl who doesn't know how to duel, replied Yusei. Well then have it your way. Just let's get you the deck we were going to give to your female friend, said Tanner. I already have mine, said Yusei, showing his deck to Tanner. With that both Tanner and Yusei put on duel disc and prepare to duel. You have no skills, kid, to take me on, and that deck of yours isn't good either, said Tanner. Then how about you duel me and find out, replied Yusei. Well, looks like you have the whole attitude thing covered, said Tanner. Naruto, you don't have to duel this guy, said Sakura. If I don't, Sakura, then I will never live it down. Besides, I am doing this not for you but because of the fact I hate people bullying others who are weaker than them, and I told you before the name's Yusei, replied Yusei. Who are you exactly, kid? Asked Yanagi. I am just a guy trying to find a place in life, replied Yusei. There's something special about this young fellow. If I saw what I think I saw last night, that means this boy is really who I think he is, thought Yusei. So you're ready to lose, kid? Asked Tanner. Not on your life, replied Yusei. Let's duel, said Tanner and Yusei at once and activated their duel disc, displaying their life points. Alright, seniority goes first. I activate the spell card Cost Down, which lowers all the monsters in my hand by 2 levels. Next I summon the monster Ushi in attack mode, said Tanner. A blue human-like figure with a head of a bull and was coming out of a lamp appeared with 2,150 attack points. So your deck any good? Asked Tanner. Well, Tanner, let me show you what my deck can really do, replied Yusei. Meanwhile, up in a room with cameras, the warden Chief Armstrong was watching the duel between Tanner and Yusei. He picked up the phone and dialed a number. Meanwhile, in another part of New Domino City, Rex Godwin was walking with Jack Atlas heading towards his manor and was talking on his cell phone to somebody. Good work, Chief Armstrong. I want you to keep your eye on the duel and let me know at once if you spot anything unusual happening in the duel with Yusei, and write it at once. Goodbye, said Godwin, hanging up the phone. Looks like your satellite friend Yusei is making some new friends in the facility, said Godwin. That's fine, but tell me why you are bringing me here to your manor, Mr. Godwin, asked Jack. Because of some recent events coming up. I feel it time I tell you everything, replied Godwin. With that they went inside an elevator and they went down and enter a strange hallway. You see, Jack, you being a great duelist is not what makes you great. It's what makes you great that makes you a great duelist, said Godwin. Okay, I pretend for a second that I understand what you're telling me, said Jack. With that they continued walking and came to a strange room with some sort of ancient structure. What is that thing? Asked Jack, confused. It is the stairway of the Crimson Dragon. I had it sent here from South America a couple of years ago, replied Godwin. Is that what I think it is? Asked Jack. Yes, Jack, that is the symbol of the Crimson Dragon. You bear the mark of the Crimson Dragon's right wing, as Yusei also bears a mark of the Crimson Dragon too. You see, I belong to a order that is descended from a group of people called the People of the Stars. I happen to be the 360th Star Guardian, replied Godwin. So what does this have to do with me and Yusei? Asked Jack. For that we will have to take a trip to the past, replied Godwin. With a wave of his hand the room changed to a jungle with the structure with people in masks on it. You see, Jack, thousands of years ago, the people of the stars worship a star called the Dragon Star, and they called their leader the Dragon Star King. when the gate to the Shadow Realm was open and the Demon King and his servants attacked them. The Dragon Star King prayed to the Dragon Star and it heard his cry, and the Crimson Dragon came down and covered the land with a blanket of light and sealed the Demon King and his servants in the ground, said Godwin. You mean like the dirt, said Jack. Exactly, replied Godwin. With that the scene changed to a mountain range with lines in the shape of animals. These are the Nazca lines, said Jack, surprised. Yes, they're Jack. You see, over the years Mont's evil has weakened the Crimson Dragon's seal, and soon the Demon King and his servants will be free. When that day comes, my order will be ready to call on the Crimson Dragon and save mankind. But first we need to find the other signers. Ones that bear the dragon's mark like you and that satellite Yusei, said Godwin. So I am supposed to save the world, said Jack, looking at the mark on his right arm. Meanwhile, back at the facility, Yusei decided to make his move. Alright, I summon Elemental Hero Clayman in defense mode and set one card face down, said Yusei. A figure appeared that was brown with a red dome where the head would be in defense mode with 2000 defense points. That's all you got. Now I release Ushi-Oni to summon Giant Ushi-Oni in attack mode, said Tanner. A blue bull-like figure with a spider body for its bottom half appeared with an attack of 2600. Now I attack your Clayman with Giant Ushi-Oni, said Tanner. With Gion Elemental Hero Clayman. Now that Giant Ushi-Oni destroyed a monster, he can attack you again. Now Giant Ushi-Oni attack him directly, said Tanner. With that, Giant Ushi-Oni attack Yusei and cause direct damage. I active the trap card Crystal Beast Dragon Summon. By sending all 7 Crystal Beast cards from my deck to the graveyard, the damage your monster inflicted is half. But that's not all, Tanner. I got to special summon from my deck or hand Rainbow Dragon in defense mode, said Yusei. A white dragon similar to Slifer the Sky Dragon with a horn on its head appeared in defense mode with 0 defense points. Tanner 4000 LP, Yusei 2700 LP. I never thought in my life that I would see the legendary Rainbow Dragon, shouted Yanagi happily. What's so legendary about this dragon? Asked Sakura. You see, the Rainbow Dragon is supposed to be equal to power to the 3 Egyptian god cards, and Yusei just summon it in one turn that easily, replied Yanagi. So it's equal in power to the 3 Egyptian god cards, like the winged dragon of Ra that Naruto played in his duel with Jack. Telling from that last duel, Naruto probably has a plan if he summoned that monster to the field, thought Sakura. So you managed to summon Rainbow Dragon to the field, kid, but there's a catch to activating that continuous trap of yours, right? Said Tanner. You're right. Thanks to my trap card, Rainbow Dragon has to stay in defense mode for 1 turn and I can't conduct my battle phase either, replied Yusei. Well, that was a dumb move to make, kid, said one of the man. Not exactly. You see, if he didn't activate that trap card of his, Giant Ushi-Oni would have dealt 2600 points of damage instead of just 1300, said Tanner. Did Tanner just say something nice about that, kid? Asked another man. It's my move, Tanner, and I activate the spell card Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards. Next I set 1 card face down and end my turn, said Yusei. It's my turn and I attack your Rainbow Dragon with Giant Ushi-Oni, said Tanner. I don't think so, Tanner, because I activate the trap card Negate Attack, which stops your monster's attack and ends the battle phase, said Yusei. Fine, I put 1 card face down and end my turn, said Tanner. Man, this duel has fired up. It's just like old times when I dueled in the pros until I lose to Jack Atlas and everything went downhill from there. But I like this kid, he reminds me of me, thought Tanner. Okay, at my move, Tanner, said Yusei, drawing a card. Alright, now I have everything I need to win this duel right here, thought Yusei, smiling. Oh guys, the kid just smiled, said a man. So kid, what are you smiling for? Asked Tanner. Because I am going to win this duel right here. First I switch Rainbow Dragon to attack mode and activate my Crystal Beast Dragon Summon other effect. By sending it to the graveyard and sending any number of monsters from my deck to the graveyard, I can summon the same number of Crystal Beast to the field in attack mode from my graveyard. So I send Destiny Hero Plasma, Elemental Hero Prisma and Red Eyes Black Dragon to the graveyard and summon Crystal Beast Topaz Tiger, Cobalt Eagle and Amber Mammoth from my graveyard, said Yusei. With that, a white tiger, a eagle, and mammoth appeared on the field in attack mode with attack of 1600, 1700, and 1400, and Rainbow Dragon switched to attack mode with 4000 attack points. Thanks to my trap cards effect, the crystal beast I summon go to my spell and trap card zone as continuous trap cards when they are released or destroyed and are treated as such in the graveyard. Now I release my 3 crystal beast in order to summon the Egyptian god cards Slifer the Sky Dragon, said Yusei. There was thunder and lightning and Slifer the Sky Dragon appeared with an attack of 5000. Next I remove my crystal beast from my spell and trap card zone in order to summon the sacred beast Uriah Lord of Searing Flames, said Yusei. All of a sudden a monster that was similar to Slifer appeared with an attack of 4000 and Slifer's attack went down to 4000. Now I activate Uriah's special effect and destroy your face down card, said Yusei. With that Tanner's card Mirror Force was destroyed. Next I activate the spell card Synchro Tuner Summoning, which allows me to summon a level 5 or below monster and a tuner monster from my deck, and I summon Cyber Dragon and Counselor Lily to the field, said Yusei. There was flash of light and Cyber Dragon and a woman with long pink hair wearing glasses in a white dress appeared with attacks of 2100 and 400. Next I tune my Counselor Lily with Cyber Dragon to Synchro Summon Stardust Dragon, said Yusei. With another flash of light, Stardust Dragon appeared with an attack of 2500. Now I attack you with all my monsters at once. Respect that, Tanner, shouted Yusei. With that Tanner was attacked by all of Yusei's monster and lose all his life points. Tanner 0 LP Yusei 2700 LP. My boy, that was the best dueling I ever seen before in my life, said Yanagi. I had no doubts you win, Naruto, said Sakura. Thanks, you too. But can you please stop calling me Naruto, Sakura? My name's Yusei now, replied Yusei. Tanner, are you alright? Asked one of the man looking at Tanner. Yeah, I am fine, replied Tanner. Don't worry, Tanner, that kid is still slime to us and we will take his deck from him, said another man. Hold on, said Tanner talking to his man. Hold on to what? Asked another of the man confused. With that Tanner started to walk over to Yusei, Sakura, and Yanagi. Hey kid, you did pretty good defeating me in that duel. So what is your name? Asked Tanner looking at Yusei. The name's Yusei, replied Yusei looking at Tanner. The name's Bolt Tanner, and the old man was right, I used to be a pro duelist. But my time in the spotlight is over, but I would like to help you get you all the way to the pro duelist leagues. So are you interested? Asked Tanner. Very, replied Yusei shaking Tanner's hand. I am very sorry for picking on you, little lady, said Tanner looking at Sakura. It's okay. I am just glad you realize your mistake about bullying people weaker than yourself, replied Sakura. All of a sudden 2 guards came into the gym and look right at Yusei. Hey, number 88. The chief would like a word with you, said one of the guards looking at Yusei. Meanwhile, in a part of New Domino City in a tall tower, 45-year-old Seto Kaiba was watching the duel between Yusei and Jack that he got from hacking into Rex Godwin's computer system. So you finally decide to use your father's most powerful card in your turbo duel, Yusei, thought Seto smiling. At moment there was a knock at the door to Seto's office, and a younger looking man with purple hair and eyes wearing a business suit came in the office and looked right at Seto Kaiba. So Makuba, have you had any luck finding out where Yusei is from hacking into Rex Godwin's computers? Asked Seto. Yes, I have. Yusei been sent to the facility for breaking into New Domino City without permit, replied Makuba. Then I am going there to get him out, said Seto. You don't have the power to get him out, only Rex Godwin does, replied Makuba. I have to try, Makuba. I promise Yugi and Alexis that I would always be there to look out for Yusei, and I attain to keep my promise to them, said Seto looking at 2 cards in his hand. With that, Seto Kaiba grabbed his coat and headed out the door to the facility to see Yusei. 2 guards were leading Yusei down a hallway towards the interrogation chamber. So Yusei, how do you like your stay at the facility so far? Asked one of the guards. It's been swell so far, replied Yusei mockingly. You will not be laughing when Chief Armstrong is done with you, kid, said the other guard. They then came to a stop in front of a door, and one of the guards pressed a button on the intercom. We got the kid, Chief. Are you ready for him? Asked the guard. Bring him right in, replied a voice over the intercom. With that, the door opened and they went in. Meanwhile, back in the gym, Tanner was getting worried about Yusei. Hey Gramps, why isn't Yusei back yet from seeing the chief yet? He's been gone far too long and it's got me worried sick, said Tanner. Tanner's right, Yanagi. He's been gone far too long, and itid Sakura. I wouldn't worry about it, it's just routine, replied Yanagi. It's not just routine, said Tanner. What do you mean by that? Asked Yanagi. I mean there is only two ways you get to see the chief. You either make a good barbecue sauce or he's angry. Yusei may know how to duel like a pro, but I bet he does not know squat about barbecue, replied Tanner. I hope Naruto is going to be alright with the chief. It's a good thing he gave me his deck for safekeeping, because no one is going to bother to look in my small scroll that I sealed his deck in, thought Sakura. Meanwhile, back in the interrogation room, Yusei was looking Chief Armstrong in the face. So Yusei, is it? I hope you like your stay in the facility. It's better than the smell back in the satellite, and as is my breath, said Armstrong, breathing in Yusei's face. Yusei then made a face and look away from Chief Armstrong. Chief Armstrong then went behind Yusei and grabbed his arm. Rumor has it you're hiding something, and it's my job to find out if you are, said Armstrong. With that, Armstrong threw Yusei into the arms of two men in lab coats. You two take him and run your test and find out what this punk is hiding, ordered Armstrong. With that, Yusei was stripped down to his underwear and strapped to a table that hooked to a machine. Just lay still and don't try to move a muscle, said one of the men. With that, Yusei was loaded into the machine and it started to scan his body looking for the mark on his arm. After 5 minutes, Yusei came out of the machine and saw Chief Armstrong with an angry look on his face. You better we find what we are looking for before lunch. You see, if I don't eat, my blood sugar goes up and I get irritated and cranky, said Armstrong. Meanwhile, in a tall building in New Domino City, Rex Godwin was walking with Lazar down a hallway. The chief is with the boy right now, but as yet they haven't had any luck finding the mark, said Lazar. I am not surprised. Chief Armstrong couldn't find anything unless it was covered in a sweet honey glaze coating, replied Godwin as they enter an elevator and ended up coming out in Godwin's office. Well, they're running all the regular tests but with no results. In the meantime, here is his file, said Lazar, bringing up Yusei's file on the screen. Let's see here. Yusei Fudo. Lives in the satellite, excels in dueling and engineering, few run-ins with sector security. There's nothing here that says who he is and where he comes from, said Godwin. We're working on that as we speak, Mr. Godwin, but you know this boy might not be as special as we hope he is, replied Lazar. It's about time that I take a trip to the facility to witness firsthand to see if you're whether or not you're right about him, said Godwin. And should I inform the chief of your arrival? Asked Lazar. Yes, and have him send the boy back to his cell. I have a better way to get the information I seek, and also tell him when I arrive to have him take the boy's female friend away to be interrogated and find out what she knows, as she was there when the Crimson Dragon appeared. That way, if my plan fails, I may still get the information I seek from her, replied Godwin with a smile. Meanwhile, back at the facility, Sakura and Yanagi were in the cell worrying about Yusei when the guards came, opened the door and threw Yusei inside on the floor hard. Yusei, are you all right? You don't look good, asked Yanagi. Yeah, I am fine, replied Yusei. What do you mean you're fine, Naruto? You look bad to me, and what did they do to you? Asked Sakura, concerned. I said I am fine, Sakura, and don't call me Naruto anymore. The name's Yusei, and besides they only ran some test on me, replied Yusei. Test? Said Yanagi, confused. Yeah, they must have been looking for the mark that appeared on my arm when that dragon appeared back at the Kaiba dome, replied Yusei. They must have been looking for the mark of the dragon, said Yanagi. All of a sudden, Yanagi covered his mouth as a guard came by. After the guard left, Yanagi looked at Yusei. You must be a signer, Yusei, said Yanagi in a low voice. A signer? Asked Yusei, confused. Yeah, I heard about them a long time ago. I thought the whole thing was a legend, but now the tale of the people of the stars may actually be true, replied Yanagi. Okay, what are signers and who are these people of the stars? Asked Sakura, confused. Well, let me tell my story and you will find out. You see, a long time ago there was a tribe. They were strong and they worship a crimson dragon, and some could exactly summon the beast, and they were called signers. There were 5 such warriors, and each bear a mark of a different dragon they could call forth to aid them in battle. Don't you see, Yusei, you're one of them, said Yanagi. Me, a signer? So you think I actually called for out this crimson dragon? Asked Yusei. That's actually what I think, and as legend would have it, the mystical powers of the 5 dragons were eventually sealed into 5 dual monsters cards. Which means, Yusei, you must have one, said Yanagi. Me have one of the ancient dragons? I am not so sure, replied Yusei. What? I never been more sure in my entire life. You will let me see it, won't you? Said Yanagi. If you mean his Stardust Dragon card, then I have it right here, said Sakura, holding up the card. That's definitely one of the 5 dragons. But why does the chief think Yusei is a signer unless someone told him he was, said Yanagi. I don't have a clue who would tell him except maybe Jack, replied Yusei. Meanwhile, in Chief Armstrong's office, Chief Armstrong was trying to eat his dinner when the door to his office was busted wide open and a very angry Seto Kaiba walked in, looking right at him with angry eyes. Mr. Seto Kaiba, what are you doing here in the facility? I was not expecting you to show up here ever in my life, said Armstrong, surprised. I didn't come here to talk, Armstrong. I came here to see Yusei Fudo and get him and his female friend out of here at once, replied Seto in an angry tone. I am afraid you don't have the authority to do that, Mr. Kaiba. Only the Director General can do that, said Armstrong. I guess you're right, but then I wish to visit him in his cell as I have something to give him from his father, said Seto. Why would I do that, and what relationship do you have with this satellite Yusei Fudo anyways? Asked Armstrong. He happens to be the adoptive son of the late Yugi and Alexis Mutu and my adoptive nephew as well. If I don't get to see him at once, I will have you fired as warden of the facility, and I do have the power to do that as I know you abuse your authority over this place. So will you let's see Yusei Fudo, or will I have to make a phone call and have you replace at once and have you thrown in jail for the rest of your life for not allowing me to visit with my nephew Yusei Fudo? Replied Seto in a threatened voice. Fine, you can visit Yusei Fudo, but you can only see him for an hour. Guard, come take Mr. Kaiba here to that satellite Yusei Fudo cell at once, said Armstrong to the guard in the room. Yes, right away, Chief Armstrong, replied the guard. With that, the guard leads Seto Kaiba out the door and to Yusei's cell. Meanwhile, inside Jack Atlas's manor, Jack was looking out the window to the sight of New Domino City at night. There's no way a loser like me can be a signer. How does Godwin accept me to save the world when I could not save myself from losing to the likes of Yusei? Thought Jack, putting his red dragon archfiend on the table. At that moment, Mina came into the room. Mr. Atlas, said Mina. What do you want, Mina? Asked Jack. I am sorry, Mr. Atlas. I didn't mean to interrupt. But I got the breakdown for your duel tomorrow, replied Mina. I will not be needing it, Mina, because I will not be dueling anyone until Yusei gets out of the facility. My rank means nothing anymore because he beat me, and until I get a rematch with him I am throwing in my cards, shouted Jack, throwing his red dragon archfiend on the table. But Mr. Atlas, you have a contract duty to your sponsors, said Mina. Do you think I care? I duel for me and not some fat cat holding a checkbook. Don't you realize dueling is more than just paydays and tea, that the only who understands is Yusei, and he doesn't even have his precious Stardust Dragon with him, said Jack, looking out the window and then at his deck, going through it to find Stardust Dragon until he couldn't find it. Where is it? I know Stardust Dragon is in here somewhere, said Jack, looking for it. Wait a minute, I remember now, that girl that was with Yusei. She grabbed a hold of me before sector security took them away. She must have taken Stardust Dragon off of me without me noticing. Well, it doesn't matter now. Yusei can have his card back as I don't need it to beat him, thought Jack. Back at the facility, Yusei was getting ready to go to bed, as was Yanagi and Sakura, when there was a knock at the door of the cell. Yusei Fudo, you have a visitor here to see you, said the guard. I wonder who would come see me in here, thought Yusei. With that, the door opened and Seto Kaiba came in. So Yusei, a long time no see, said Seto. Uncle Seto, what are you doing here? Asked Yusei, confused. I came here to see you, of course, Yusei. And who are your 2 friends? Asked Seto, looking at Sakura and Yanagi. The name's Sakura Haruno, replied Sakura. The name's Yanagi and you're Seto Kaiba. I never thought I would ever get a chance to meet you in person, said Yanagi. Well, it's nice to meet some of Yusei's friends at last, replied Seto. Uncle Seto, what are you doing here and how did you find me? Asked Yusei. Well, you can thank Makuba for that. He hacked in Rex Godwin's computer system and found out you were sent here for entering New Domino City without a permit, and not to mention the duel you had with Jack Atlas that you would have won if it wasn't for that Crimson Dragon that appeared out of thin air and caused the power to go out all over the city, replied Seto. You mean you saw the legendary Crimson Dragon as well? Asked Yanagi. Of course I did see it with my own eyes, replied Seto. You know that dragon's supposed to be some sort of ancient beast from a long time ago and not illusion, right? Asked Sakura. Well, from my times with Yusei's dad a long time ago with magic and ancient prophecies. I learn over the years to believe in things that most people would consider myths, replied Seto. So Uncle Seto, can you tell me why you came to see me? Because I know you usually always have a reason behind everything you do and that you are not here to just talk about old times. Ask Yusei. You're right, Yusei. I came here to give you something that was given to me by your dad to give to you when you became 18 years old and in case something ever happened to him and your mom, replied Seto, handing Yusei a package. What in it? Asked Yusei. You better open it and find out, Yusei, replied Seto. With that, Yusei opened the package and found some cards and a blue pyramid with the Eye of Ra on it with a gold metal chain going through the loop on top. There was also a letter in it as well. Yusei took the letter and read it. Dear Yusei, if you're reading this letter, then that means that me and your mother are both dead and can't give you this gift in person. Before you are some special cards. 3 of them happen to be cards from your mother's deck that she decided to hold on to until you were old enough. They are Cold Enchanter, Ice Master, and Ice Queen. The others are cards I had for a while but decided not to give you until you got to be 18 years old. They happen to be the legendary dragon cards Timaeus, Critias, and Hermos in monster card form, each with 4,000 attack points, alongside their legendary knight form as monster cards as well with their fusion monster Knight of Destiny. Also as there are 3 more dragons: Mirror Force Dragon, Tyrant Burst Dragon, and Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon, and finally a card I had, Pegasus made Dark Magician Girl Knight. The object before happens to be a Millennium item called the Pyramid of Light that belonged to an enemy of my old friend and partner, the Pharaoh Atem, called Anubis. We thought it was destroyed when Anubis was defeated, but it ended up coming back intact after the other items were lost after my duel with Atem. I decided to keep it with me for safekeeping. The day that me and your mother found you and brought you home, something told me you were destined to have this item to wear. So I decided to put it with these cards, knowing it was part of your destiny. Before I end this letter, I want to say me and your mother, we are both proud of you and who you will become in the future, and that we will always love you and will always be there for you even in spirit. Love, your father and mother, Yugi and Alexis Mutu. After Yusei finished reading it, he had a tear in his eye. Yusei, are you going to be alright? Asked Yanagi. Yeah, I am going to be just fine, replied Yusei. Yusei, before I go I have something to give you, said Seto. What is it, Uncle Seto? Asked Yusei. I had Pegasus made some cards for you 2 years ago and I think now is a good of time as any to give them to you, replied Seto, handing Yusei 2 cards. Yusei looked at the cards and saw that one looked like Stardust Dragon and was called Stardust Dragon Buster Mode, and the other card was a spell card called Buster Mode. Thanks a lot, Uncle Seto, said Yusei. Don't mention it, Yusei, replied Seto. There was a knock at the door and the guard told Seto Kaiba his time was up. Well, I better get going, Yusei. I hope you get out of here soon, and I know you will make it to the Pro Duelist Leagues and became the Duel King like your father, said Seto. With that, Seto left the cell and went out the door. Who was that man you called Uncle Seto? Asked Sakura, curious. His name is Seto Kaiba. He used to be a rival of my father Yugi Mutu, but eventually they became close friends and became my adoptive uncle when my parents adopted me when I got to New Domino City 6 years ago. When my parents were killed in a car accident 4 years ago, he tried to adopt me and take me in as he made a promise to my parents to always watch out for me. But the government put a stop to that plan and I was sent to the satellite where I had to work hard to survive, replied Yusei. I am sorry that you lose your adoptive parents and that you could not live with your dad's best friend, said Sakura. It's okay, Sakura, it's in the past. Can you do me a favor, Sakura, and put these cards in my deck and seal it back up in your scroll? Replied Yusei, handing Sakura his new cards. Sure thing, Naruto, said Sakura, taking the cards from Yusei. Can you please stop calling me Naruto, Sakura? The name's Yusei now, said Yusei. Yusei then looked down at the Pyramid of Light in his hands. Something tells me that I am going to need this in the future, thought Yusei, putting the Millennium item around his neck. With that, they went to bed for the night. The next morning, Chief Armstrong had made everyone in the facility gather in the mess hall. So does anyone know why we are here for? Asked Yusei. I don't know, but it must be something big if Chief Armstrong gather us all together, replied Tanner. Not everyone, Tanner. I don't see Sakura anywhere and that has me worried. Do any of you two know where she is? Asked Yusei in a concerned voice. Well, I saw her being taken away by the guards to the interrogation room this morning to answer some questions, replied Yanagi. That doesn't sound very good to me, Gramps. I don't know what kind of questions she is being asked, but the way they get answers is not very good, said Tanner. Well, I wouldn't worry about her too much, Tanner. Sakura is a grown woman now and it will take more than what the guards have to force anything out of her, said Yusei. I hope you are right, Yusei, replied Tanner. If I know Sakura, the training she went through to become a ninja will not let her give up any information to those guards no matter what they do to her. But why'd I feel worried sick about her safety, and why'd I feel the old feelings I had for Sakura coming back to me? I mean, I am no longer in love with her after what she did to me 6 years ago, or could it be I am still in love with her but I am not admitting it to myself? Thought Yusei. At that moment Chief Armstrong decided to speak up. Okay, you maggots, listen, deuce you to the Director General Mr. Rex Godwin. He is here to tell you all about a program he will be starting over the next few weeks. We are hoping someone in here has a mark of a champion, said Armstrong. Yusei then looked up in surprise as he knew they probably meant the dragon's mark on his arm. Meanwhile at the Kaiba Dome, the dome was packed to the all the way with the crowd chanting Jack Atlas's name. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, fans young and old, the Kaiba Dome. We have an excellent match today between the former champion Hunter Pace and the current champ Jack Atlas, shouted the announcer. Meanwhile Jack was in his dressing room getting ready for his match with Hunter Pace, and Mina was behind him. Mr. Atlas, if it means anything to you, I think you made the right decision to duel today. Now how about we put this whole Yusei business behind us and move on, said Mina. I will move on when I am good and ready, Mina, replied Jack in an angry tone. Of course, Mr. Atlas. I only meant, started Mina. Save it, Mina. I have a duel to prepare for, said Jack. Because the last thing anyone wants to see me do is lose again, thought Jack. Meanwhile back in the Kaiba Dome, the crowd was getting anxious with excitement. All right everyone, let's give it up for the one and only Hunter Pace, said the announcer. All of a sudden a duel runner appeared out of the tunnel to the Kaiba Dome that looked like a chopper, like a biker would ride with Hunter Pace on it. Come out, Jack Atlas. It's your old friend Hunter Pace and I have a score to settle with you. I am going to take back me tile from you, pretty boy, said Hunter Pace. Now welcome the undefeated and undisrupted Duel Monsters champion of the world, Jack Atlas, shouted the announcer. With that Jack came out of the tunnel on his duel runner at top speed with the crowd chanting his name. What do you say we kick this turbo duel into overdrive, said Jack. Does Jack have what it takes to take down Hunter Pace's new deck? Word on the street is it hotter than hot, said the announcer. If everyone is here for a show then I will give them one, said Jack. Jack and Hunter Pace are at the starting line ready to go, so how about we get this turbo duel started, said the announcer. I think I get things fire up first, said Jack, turning his duel runner duel mode on. A picture of a timer appeared in front of Jack and Hunter Pace and started to count down. Ready, set and duel, said a computer voice, and both duel runners took off around the track. Hey Pace, watch this. I summoned Dark Resonator in defense mode, said Jack. A figure in a cloak appeared holding 2 weapons in its hands in defense mode with 300 defense points. Jack Atlas is off to a good start. I think he is telling Hunter Pace that the title is his alone, said the announcer. What is that supposed to scare me? Asked Hunter Pace. No, but these 2 face down should do the trick, replied Jack, laying down 2 face down cards. Hunter Pace has to be careful because one of those cards could lead him to early defeat, said the announcer. Meanwhile back at the facility, Rex Godwin was looking over all the inmates in the facility and started to speak. Good evening everyone. If you will allow me a few moments of your time, I will explain the details of the pilot program that Chief Armstrong has been talking about earlier, said Godwin. With that Godwin started to walk down the stage. I am sure many of you have feel that you have been dealt a bad hand in life. But I hope to change that. In fact, for one person here, new optionalities are only a handshake away. You see, you could be of great use to the city, and that is why I am started this program to select one of you to take under my wing, and if that person prove useful to me in the city then I will be more than happy to return the favor. Like say a full pardon for example and a clean record. Perhaps an invite to live here in New Domino City. Now it's just the matter of picking one of you to come and assist me. Finished Godwin, looking right at Yusei. Meanwhile back at then Kaiba Dome, Hunter Pace was about ready to make his move. Don't go losing your cool, Jack, okay? Because it's my turn and I plan on turning up the heat in here. Now I discard Soul Conductor from my hand too and allows to special summon 2 zombie type monsters from my hand that are just dying to meet you. Now say hello to my 2 burning skullheads, said Hunter Pace. Two skulls that appear to be on fire appeared with 800 attack points each. Hunter Pace is going all out to make sure this duel does not turn out like their last one, said the announcer. They say 2 heads are better than 1 and I couldn't agree more. Especially that you lose a 1000 life points for every skull I have on the field. Looks like I am halfway there to my victory lap now, said Hunter Pace. The 2 skulls then fired 2 beams of light at Jack and he lost 2000 life points. Jack 2000 LP, Pace 4000 LP. Oh my, I can't bear to watch how this unfolds, said the announcer. Well, you better get your eyes covered because there are a lot more to come and I start by releasing my 2 skulls to summon 4th skull flames, said Hunter Pace. A monster that was dressed in a grey cloak and had a skull with flames coming out of the top appeared with an attack of 2600. Looks like Hunter Pace has brought his A game to today, folks, and appears to do everything in his power to make Jack sweat it out. Now let's see what he is going to fire up next, said the announcer. This should send a message to everyone that Jack's reign is coming to go up in smoke, said Hunter Pace. Another burning skullhead. Something tells me that Hunter Pace has a bone to pick with Jack Atlas, said the announcer. Now burning skullhead attack, shouted Hunter Pace. The burning skullhead then attacked Jack and made him lose another 1000 life points. Jack 1000 LP, Pace 4000 LP. Our champ is down to his last 1000 life points. We may all be witnessing Jack Atlas's winning streak finally coming to an end, said the announcer. Hear that, Jack? Everyone is already chalking this up as a lose for you, and so have I. Because I got a little surprise waiting for you next turn. Because I get to summon another burning skullhead, which means you lose another 1000 life points and I gain a championship. Don't worry, feel free to call my agent if you want another rematch. He should set one up in another year or two. When I lost to you, I lost everything. They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but I think it's better flaming hot, said Hunter Pace. It comes all down to this last turn. If Jack cannot mount a comeback, then this is it for the young champion's winning streak, said the announcer. Hunter is no Yusei. He's the same sort of trash that I always beat, and it's about time I take out the garbage, said Jack. Meanwhile, back at the facility, Chief Armstrong decided to speak up. All right, everyone, back to your cells. The director has made his decision, said Armstrong. With that, the guards started to take everyone back to the cells. Hold it right there, Yusei. You're the one the director has chosen, said Armstrong. Be careful, Yusei, said Tanner as he walked away. Rex, Godwin and Chief Armstrong then walked towards Yusei. So, Mr. Fudo, what do you think about the little experiment that I propose? Asked Godwin. I don't want any part of it, replied Yusei. You take part of it and like you little, started Armstrong until Godwin put his hand up to silence him. Oh, come now, Yusei. I know you want some answers, said Godwin. What kind of answers, Godwin? What do you mean? Asked Yusei. Oh, don't act so dumb, Yusei. I know all about that mark of the dragon that appeared on your arm, replied Godwin. Really? Then what about you? Tell me what you know about. What does it mean? Asked Yusei. That is what I'm hoping to uncover with your help. I can't do it alone, replied Godwin. Well, I don't believe you. You're hiding something. You just going to use me, said Yusei. Of course we both use each other. Look at our city. The satellite needs the trash that we give them. They recycle it for energy and heat, which in turn we use, Yusei, said Godwin. It's not trash that we need. Fine, then it's yours, replied Godwin. Oh, for what? Asked Yusei. Just come with me so I can study your mark of the dragon. Together we may be unable to unlock the secrets of the signers. But if you say no, then you will regret it, and then who knows what may happen to you, said Godwin. What do you mean? Asked Yusei. Well, here in the facility we have places for people like you, Yusei, and you live to regret ever turning down my offer, replied Godwin. I think I will take my chances, said Yusei. What about your female friend Sakura? Said Godwin. What do you mean by that? Asked Yusei. Oh, I think you better see what happens when you turn me down, replied Godwin. With that, 2 guards came into the room carrying Sakura and tossed her on the floor in front of Yusei, and she appeared to be weak. Sakura, are you all right? Asked Yusei, concern and shock. Yeah, I am just fine. They try to make me talk about what happened that night at the Kaiba Dome and what I know about the Crimson Dragon. But I didn't tell them anything, replied Sakura in a weak voice. What the hell did you do to her? Asked Yusei in a threatened voice and clutching his fist close. Nothing but a little shock therapy to make her tell me about what she knows about the Crimson Dragon. I guess the guards forget to set the shocks on low voltage. Poor little thing refused to give up any information no matter how painful it was for her. But don't worry, she should be fine in a couple of hours, said Godwin. Why, you sick freak. I should tear you apart for what you did to her. She didn't deserve that kind of treatment, said Yusei in an angry tone. Well then I guess we have to punish you and your female friend then. Chief Armstrong, take Yusei and his female friend here back to their cell for the night and tomorrow put both of them into the hive, said Godwin. Right away, Mr. Godwin. You heard him. Satellite, pick up your girlfriend and the guards here will take you both back to your cell until tomorrow when you both are put into the hive, said Armstrong with a smile. With that, Yusei picked up Sakura and held her bridal style and the guards lead them back to their cell. Meanwhile, back at the Kaiba dome, Jack was getting ready to make his move. Enough warm up. It's time I kick this duel into overdrive, and first I start by releasing my dark resonator to summon Big Piece Golem in attack mode, said Jack. A gray stone figure then appeared with an attack of 2100. It looks like Jack's going with a face down, said the announcer. You want a face down? How about I blast you off your runner, said Hunter Pace. Funny, Hunter. But he who laughs last laughs best, and with my revival gift trap card should have me laughing all the way to victory. Since I can now summon a tuner monster from my graveyard. Next I bring out Dark Resonator, said Jack as his tuner monster appeared. Wait, what's happening now? Asked the announcer. How about you tell me, pal? Asked Hunter Pace as two black creatures with 1500 defense points appeared on the field. That's the special effect of the revival gift trap card that gives Jack 2 monster tokens. Does this mean Jack is going to come back and win it all? Said the announcer. I think it's time for an upgrade. Now Dark Resonator tune with Big Piece Golem to synchro summon Red Dragon Archfiend, said Jack. There was a flash of light and Red Dragon Archfiend appeared with an attack of 3000. Talk about saving the best for last. Jack summons his most powerful monster to the field, said the announcer. This isn't good, said Hunter Pace. Now Red Dragon Archfiend attack, shouted Jack. With that, Red Dragon Archfiend attacked Burning Skullhead and also destroyed the 2 monster tokens in defense mode. Now I activate my other trap, Lineage of Destruction, and since I destroyed 3 monsters, Red Dragon Archfiend can attack you 3 more times, said Jack. It looks like Jack has played this match the way he always has, with the skills of a champion, said the announcer. Now Red Dragon Archfiend, finish him off, said Jack. With that, Red Dragon Archfiend attacked Skull Flames and destroyed it, and finally attack Hunter Pace directly twice to make him lost all his life points. Jack 1000 LP, Pace 0 LP. They say 3rd time's the charm, Hunter. But I think your sponsors will not feel that way. You better off changing brake pads for a living, said Jack. You better watch out, Yusei. When you get out and have our rematch, I will win and prove I am the best, thought Jack, looking up at the moon. Meanwhile, back at the facility, the guards had just put Yusei and Sakura back in their cell and Yanagi was already asleep. Yusei then went over to Sakura's bed and laid her down. You better rest, Sakura, you're going to need it for tomorrow, said Yusei. I am fine right now thanks to me being a medical ninja and knowing medical jutsu, replied Sakura. Well, I still think you need some rest since you got zapped by God knows how many volts of electricity, said Yusei in a concerned voice. So you were worried about me along? Asked Sakura. Yes, I was, and when I saw you that week I was afraid that I was going to lose you. How come you did not tell them about the Crimson Dragon and about me being a signer? If you told them, they probably would have let you go, asked Yusei. Because I love you very much, and I didn't tell them because I wanted to prove to you that I was really sorry for what happened 6 years ago, replied Sakura. Well, you're forgiven, Sakura. Besides, when you were not there and Yanagi told me the guards had taken you away to ask you questions, I realized that I still love you even though what you did to me 6 years ago made me angry. But you have proven that you are really sorry, and I am actually glad that you are here with me even though you should have gone back to the village, said Yusei. I am glad you see that I am sorry. I want to say that I have loved you ever since you were exiled from the village, and I felt like there was a piece of me missing. So I really mean when I say that I really deeply am in love with you, Yusei Fudo, said Sakura. Now you finally calling me Yusei now. But what changed your mind about calling me by my old name of Naruto? Asked Yusei. Because I see now that you are no longer Naruto Uzumaki but Yusei Fudo. But it still doesn't change the fact that I love you with all my heart, Yusei, replied Sakura. I love you with all my heart to Sakura, said Yusei. With that they ended up kissing each other on the lips and stayed like that for a full minute before they broke apart. You better get some sleep now, Sakura. You're going to need every ounce of your strength for tomorrow when they move us to our new cell, said Yusei. I guess you're right, Yusei. I will see you in the morning, Yusei, said Sakura. Yeah, I will see you in the morning to Sakura, replied Yusei. With that, Sakura closed her eyes and fell to sleep. Yusei sat on his bed and looked at Sakura as she was sleeping. You better watch out, Rex Godwin and Chief Armstrong. I am going to make you both pay for what you did to the girl I love. That is a promise I attained to keep this time, thought Yusei with hate and anger in his eyes. The next morning 2 guards had come to Yusei and Sakura's cell and now were leading them down a long dark hallway. After walking for 15 minutes they came out into a big room filled with cells. Welcome you two to the hive, said one of the guards. This is where Chief Armstrong sends the worst of the worst, said the other guard. Hey satellite, said Armstrong from somewhere. Yusei and Sakura look up and saw Chief Armstrong looking down at them from overlooking platform. I hope you two like your new home. The Director General sends his regards, said Armstrong laughing. Sakura looked at Yusei and saw he had a look of hatred on his face directed at Chief Armstrong. Come on you two, get the move on, said one of the guards. With that the guards lead Yusei and Sakura to a cell and open the door. I hope you two like your new home, but don't expect a mint on your pillow, said the other guard closing the door behind them. Aw man, and here I was just starting to get used to being on my own, replied a voice. Yusei and Sakura looked towards the director, a slightly older boy with blue hair and blue eyes wearing a blue t-shirt with a white strip in the middle and a thin yellow strip below it with black jeans and black sneakers. Who are you? Asked Sakura. The name's Alex and you two must be Yusei and Sakura, right? If it's not too much trouble, can one of you take the top bunk because I used to sleep up there and I kept rolling over and falling to the floor, said Alex. With that Yusei quickly went over and got up on the top bunk and laid down. No complaints I guess. So what's his problem? Asked Alex. He has a lot on his mind right now, replied Sakura. Telling from the way Yusei's looks, he is probably thinking about what happened at the Kaiba Dome with the Crimson Dragon and what Yanagi told him about him being a signer, thought Sakura. Meanwhile on the top bunk Yusei was thinking hard while Alex was talking to Sakura. Did I really summon the Crimson Dragon back at the Kaiba Dome, and could Yanagi really be right about me being a signer and bearing the mark of the Crimson Dragon? Thought Yusei. Hey Yusei, is it really true what they say about you? Asked Alex, interrupting Yusei's thoughts. What do you mean what they is true about me? Asked Yusei. Like how you stood up to Tanner and you royally kick his butt in a duel. I stood up to him once and while him and his thugs locked me in a laundry room, replied Alex. Aw Alex, all this talking is really starting to give me a headache, said Yusei. Aw okay then I guess I will stop talking, said Alex. Hey Yusei, Sakura, said Yanagi from somewhere. Yusei and Sakura looked and saw Yanagi looking at them from outside their cell door. Yanagi, you're here too? Asked Yusei. With that Yusei and Sakura step outside their cell and Yanagi lead them to a platform where they saw Tanner. Yusei, Sakura, it's good to see you both made it here in one piece too, said Tanner. So you're here to Tanner? Asked Yusei. Yeah I am, replied Tanner. I don't understand this. This has to be some kind of mistake. This is the long-term maximum security facility. I was on the top of the release list to get out of here, said Yanagi. You and me both were Gramps, replied Tanner. So how did you end up here, Tanner? Asked Sakura. All they said was something about restructuring the system and stuff like that, replied Tanner. Something tells me that Chief Armstrong has something to do with why we're here, said Sakura. Tanner, can you tell us anything about Chief Armstrong? Asked Yusei. Well, for one thing, he is a bully, and if he has a bone to pick with you then he will find a way to pick it. Why do you ask? Did you go and do something to make him mad? Are you trying to tell us we're here because of you, Yusei? Asked Tanner. Meanwhile up in Chief Armstrong's office, Armstrong was monitoring their conversation and all of a sudden he slammed his fist on his desk. There's no way in hell that satellite trash is a signer, yelled Armstrong. Did you try to find the mark on his body? Asked Godwin, who was in the office also watching the monitor. Yes we did. We ran all the tests and couldn't find the mark anywhere on his body, replied Armstrong. Then I guess it's time for a different approach. You must duel Yusei and maybe that will make the mark on his arm appear, said Godwin. Then let him duel me, I will turn him into nothing, said Armstrong. You can't not force him to duel you. You must make Yusei want to duel you, said Godwin. And how do you intend for me to do that? Asked Armstrong. You must make up a situation where Yusei would want to duel. Besides, the look on his face he gave you earlier means he's looking to get revenge on you and me for what happened to his female friend Sakura. Which means when you make this situation happen he will want to duel you to get his revenge, replied Godwin. Well then I have the perfect way to make Yusei want to duel me. But what are you going to do about Mr. Seto Kaiba? He barged into my office 2 days ago and forced me to let him see Yusei, saying this satellite was the adoptive son of the late Yugi and Alexis Mutu and he was his adoptive uncle, asked Armstrong. I am afraid there's nothing I can do about him right now as he has a lot of power here in New Domino City. But what you just told me does explain why he has the Egyptian god cards and Kaiba's blue eyes white dragons. But it does not really matter if what Kaiba says is true. You have your orders, make Yusei Fudo want to duel you and make his mark of the dragon appear. Do I make myself clear, Chief Armstrong? Asked Godwin. Crystal clear, replied Armstrong. Meanwhile it was time for lockdown and Yusei and Sakura were now back in their cell with Alex. So did they tell the both of you that you were going to be here for a short while? Asked Alex. Yeah, that's what they told me and Sakura along with Tanner and Yanagi, replied Yusei. Well, I hate to break to the both of you, but you're probably are going to be in here for a long time. You see, Chief Armstrong liked to send people here to make an example of outsiders who start to cause trouble for him. I was sent here because I started a food fight in the cafe. They told me they sent me here to cool down for a few days. Well, that was 4 years ago and I decided to take matters into my own hands, replied Alex. What do you mean by that? Asked Sakura. Alex then went over to his bunk and lifted the mattress up, revealing a hole into a tunnel. This is why I wanted the bottom bunk. It's amazing what you can do with a spoon and knife and lots of time. Let me show you too how I plan on breaking out of here, replied Alex. With that, Alex took Yusei and Sakura through the hole and into the tunnel. After 20 minutes of crawling through the tunnel, they came out on top of the facility. Okay, you two be careful. You see that up there? It's the smell of freedom, said Alex. I can see that, Alex, but how do you plan on us escaping from here and our trackers telling them where we are? Asked Sakura. Some pals of mine are coming later tonight and breaking me out of here, and they are going to jam the signal so we can escape. Are you two interested in coming? Asked Alex. You can count us in, but we can't leave Tanner and Yanagi behind, replied Yusei. You got to be kidding me. Why do you want the two of them to come with us? Asked Alex. Because they are our friends and they have helped us while we've been in the facility, replied Sakura. Fine, they can come, but they better not slow us down or I will leave them behind, no questions asked, said Alex. With that, they headed back to their cell. Meanwhile, Tanner was in his cell when all of a sudden Chief Armstrong came into the cell. So Chief Armstrong, what do I owe the pleasure of you visiting me in my cell? Asked Tanner. Rumor has you are hiding some magazines in your cell, Tanner. You know that is against the rules, replied Armstrong. I don't read up on celebs and I don't have any magazines, so why don't you just leave my cell and go bug someone else, said Tanner. I think I will make an example out of you to the other inmates. Guards, come take Mr. Tanner here outside and let's show the other inmates what happens when they break the rules, said Armstrong. With that, 2 guards came and dragged Tanner out of his cell. At that moment, Alex, Yusei and Sakura had just returned to their cell when they heard yelling come from outside. They quickly went over to the door and saw Tanner was on the floor of the platform near Armstrong's feet. Okay, listen up all of you. Mr. Tanner was found in his cell hiding magazines, with all of you know is against the rules. Now I want to know who gave him them at once or all of you are going to be in lockdown for good, said Armstrong. Come on, you can't do that to us just because of one person, shouted one of the inmates. I can, because I am the warden and I am in charge. So if anyone wants to speak up, now is the time, said Armstrong. Armstrong, you know as well as I do you're just abusing your authority over us and that Tanner is innocent, shouted Yusei. So you're saying that I am unfair, satellite? Well, let me prove you wrong in duel. If you win, then I will forget all about Tanner's punishment, but if I win, said Armstrong, then no one but me will be PUD, said Yusei. Then you have yourself a deal, satellite. Meet me here tonight at 8:30, said Armstrong. You got a deal, Armstrong, and I am going to make you pay big time too for hurting my girlfriend Sakura, replied Yusei in a hateful tone. All of a sudden 2 guards came dragging Yanagi to Armstrong. Hey Chief, we found this old man hiding some cards in his cloths. said a guard holding Yanagi's cards in his hands. Gave them back, those are my precious treasures, said Yanagi. You know the rules, old man, there is no cards allowed or in the facility. Now you two take him and Tanner here back to their cell at once, said Armstrong. With that the guards took Yanagi and Tanner back to their cell. Yusei and Sakura then rush out of their cell with Alex behind them and ran into Yanagi and Tanner's cell as the guards threw them on the floor of the cell. Yanagi, Tanner, are you two alright? Asked Yusei. Yeah, I am fine, Yusei, but they took my cards away, replied Yanagi. Yeah, and Armstrong confiscated my deck as well, replied Tanner. So what are you going to do now, Yusei? You have no deck to duel with against Armstrong and we were all supposed to leave tonight. What were you thinking? Asked Alex. He was thinking about our friend's safety, and besides I have Yusei's deck on me, so Armstrong will be going down anyways, replied Sakura. Sakura's right, Alex. Armstrong doesn't know Sakura has my deck and that is why he is going to lose tonight. Now can you do me a favor, Alex, and watch over Yanagi and Tanner while me and Sakura go back to our cell and go over my deck and come up with a strategy? Asked Yusei. Fine, I will watch over your friends for you, but what kind of strategy do you have up your sleeve? Asked Alex. It is something that is going to bring Armstrong down once and for all, replied Yusei. With that, Yusei and Sakura left Alex with Yanagi and Tanner and went back to their cell. Once they went inside, they shut the door behind them and Sakura decide to ask Yusei a question. So what the plan, Yusei? And tell me the truth, because you don't needed a plan to play your deck since you know it inside and out, asked Sakura. While you see, Sakura, I plan on using the Pyramid of Light my father gave me to play a shadow game and make Armstrong feel the pain of my monster's attacks and send him to the Shadow Realm to pay for what he and Godwin did to you, replied Yusei. All I have to say is that what Armstrong did to me and how he treats the other inmates and abuses the power he has as warden of this place. He deserves to be punished big time, as he is as bad as Orochimaru, said Sakura. So Sakura, once we get out of here you will probably have to go back to the village and tell Lady Tsunade that your mission failed, as I have no intention of coming back to the village and have to tell her about the Crimson Dragon and me being a signer, asked Yusei in a sad voice. I've been thinking about that, Yusei, and I have decided that I am going to stay here with you and not return to the village, as I don't ever want to lose you again like I did 6 years ago, replied Sakura. You know you probably will be classified as a missing ninja and that Lady Tsunade will have to send Hunter Ninja to come receive you, said Yusei. Well, I just will have to send a messenger slug and tell her that I have no intention of coming back to the village and to have her strip me of my rank of a Shinbo so I can stay here you with, replied Sakura. You would give up being a ninja forever just so you can be with me? Asked Yusei. Oh, course I would, because you are the man I love and intend to marry and have children with and spend the rest of my life with, replied Sakura. Meanwhile, in another part of New Domino City, Jack Atlas was racing around the track on top of a building in front of his mansion. I've been around this track hundreds of times today and I haven't been able to make the mark on my arm glow and have not summoned the Crimson Dragon either. Does that mean that the only way to make the Crimson Dragon appear is for me to duel Yusei again? Well, he better get out of the facility soon before I go after him myself there, thought Jack. With that, he continued to circle around the track. Meanwhile, back at the facility, it was time for the duel between Chief Armstrong and Yusei, and 2 guards were leading Yusei over to the chief. Well, Yusei, glad you could make it. But it looks like you have no deck, which means that I win by default. Guards, you can take Mr. Yusei Fudo here back to his cell, said Armstrong. But I have a deck right here with me, Chief Armstrong, said Yusei, holding up his deck. How did you get those cards? Asked Armstrong. I had these stored in a safe place since I got here. So are we going to duel or not? Asked Yusei. Fine, you may have broken the rules, but I will keep up my end of the bargain. Guards, bring me the duel disc so we can get started, said Armstrong. With that, the guards got 2 duel discs and put them on Armstrong and Yusei. Yusei saw that they were both attached to the floor by chains. What is the meaning of these chains? Asked Yusei. They're to make the duel more interesting and shocking too, replied Armstrong. Did just not matter anyways what these chains are for, Armstrong. I am going to take you down for what you did to Sakura and you are going to wish you were never born, said Yusei in an angry voice. Well then, prove it to me, satellite trash, said Armstrong. Let's duel, said Armstrong and Yusei at the same time, and both duel discs came online and displayed their life points. I go first and I summon Elemental Hero Lady Heat in defense mode, said Yusei. A woman then appeared dressed in red and white spandex and had blonde hair, wearing a gold headpiece with 1000 defense points. My turn. I summon Iron Chi and Repairman in attack mode, said Armstrong. A gray man in overalls and holding a hammer appeared with 1600 attack points. Now I attack your Lady Heat with Iron Chain Repairman, said Armstrong. With that, Iron Chain Repairman destroyed Lady Heat. Now thanks to his effect you take 300 points of damage each time my Repairman destroys a monster, said Armstrong. With that, Yusei took 300 points of damage. Armstrong 4000 LP, Yusei 3700 LP. All of a sudden a yellow light came up the chain and gave Yusei a strong shock. What was that? Asked Yusei. Oh, I forget to tell you, when either of us takes damage we each receive an electric shock. I did say this duel was going to be shocking. Now I set 2 cards face down and end my turn, replied Armstrong. This doesn't look too good for Yusei, said Yanagi looking from his cell with Tanner. I wouldn't count Yusei out just yet, he does have his deck, so I think he can take down Armstrong big time, said Tanner. It's my turn and I activate the spell card Dark Fusion and fuse Elemental Hero, Avian and Burstinatrix to fusion summon Evil Hero Inferno Wing in attack mode, shouted Yusei. All of a sudden a female figure appeared that had black wings and its hands and feet had talons and it wore what looked like blue shades over its eyes with 2100 attack points. Now I attack your Repairman with Inferno Wing, said Yusei. I don't think so, because I activate the trap card Soul Anchor and equip it to my Repairman and he can't be destroyed by battle, said Armstrong. It doesn't matter, you still take damage, said Yusei as Armstrong took the damage. Armstrong 3500 LP, Yusei 3700 LP. Yusei saw there was no electric shock coming out from Armstrong's chain. How come you didn't get shocked? Asked Yusei. I guess this dual disc must be broken, replied Armstrong mockingly. You're a liar, Armstrong. You had this dual rig from the start so you could not take the shock, shouted Alex. Can I help it if my dual disc is out of order, replied Armstrong. Well, it doesn't matter, Armstrong. What you are going to get from me is going to make you wish that your dual disc work, said Yusei. What do you mean by that, satellite scum? Asked Armstrong. You will see on my next turn. Now I set now card face down and end my turn, said Yusei smiling. Now it's my turn and I summon Iron Chain Snake in attack mode, said Armstrong. A snake made out of metal appeared on the field with a 8W. I use my snake's effect with makes it equipped to one of your monsters and makes it lose 800 attack points, said Armstrong. With that, Iron Chain Snake attach itself to Inferno Wing and its attack went from 2100 to 1300. Now I attack your Inferno Wing with my Repairman, said Armstrong. With that, Repairman destroyed Inferno Wing and Yusei receive another shock to his body. Armstrong 3500 LP, Yusei 2400 LP. Now thanks to my snake's effect. When it gets destroyed you have to send the top 3 cards from your deck to your graveyard. Now send those 3 cards to your graveyard now, satellite, said Armstrong. With that, Yusei sent 3 cards to his graveyard. Since you destroyed my monster I can activate my trap card Ultra Hero Signal. With this trap card I can summon any monster from my deck that has hero in its name, ignoring the summoning conditions, but the damage that my monster deals is cut in half and is destroyed at the end of my turn. Now I summon Destiny Hero Plasma to the field in attack mode, said Yusei. With that, a man in blood red with wings and one of its hands being a dragon's head and the other one having claws and its face covered in a mask appeared with 1900 attack points. Why did you summon a monster with 1900 attack points when you know my Repairman can't be destroyed in battle thanks to my Soul Anchor? Asked Armstrong. Because of his effect. Plasma can absorb one of your monster and half its attack point are added to his own. So you can say goodbye to your Repairman for good, replied Yusei. With that, Plasma took Repairman and absorbed him and his attack points went from 1900 to 2750. Now I attack you directly with my Destiny Hero Plasma, said Yusei. With that, Destiny Hero Plasma attack Armstrong directly. Armstrong 2125 LP, Yusei 2400 LP. All of a sudden Armstrong fell to his knees and clutched his chest like he was in a lot of pain. He then looked up and noticed the pyramid of light around Yusei's neck was glowing a gold color. Why do I feel like I felt that attack like it was real? What did you do to me, satellite? Asked Armstrong. Because that attack was real and you felt the pain of it. You see, Chief Armstrong, you're what the ancient Egyptians call a shadow game. Everything in this duel is real, even the monsters, and that is why you feel the damage they cause to you. But that isn't all, you see, your very life is on the line here. If you lose to me, then your soul will rest forever here in the Shadow Realm. I did say you were going to pay for hurting Sakura and abusing your power as warden of the facility, replied Yusei. I don't believe you, satellite trash. You're still going to lose to me, said Armstrong. Fine, then I summon the 6 Samurai Zanji in defense mode and set one card face down on the field and end my turn, said Yusei. A warrior then appeared in gold armor with 1300 defense points, and Destiny Plasma then went to the graveyard thanks to the effect of the trap card used to bring it out. Sakura, is Yusei serious about this duel being for real and that Chief Armstrong's life is on the line? Asked Alex, hearing what Yusei just said. Yes, he is very serious. You see, Yusei's adoptive father Yugi Muto used to have to play in shadow games when he was a teenager, and that a few evil people had their souls sent to the Shadow Realm from what he told me of him, replied Sakura. So you mean Yusei's father was the legendary king of games Yu-Gi-Oh Muto? Asked Alex. Yes, he was, and you can bet Chief Armstrong is going to feel sorry he messed with Yusei, replied Sakura. Well, if that's the case, then I don't feel sorry for what's going to happen to Chief Armstrong, since he treats everyone here like trash, and I am going to stick around to give Yusei support since he is sticking up for you and his friends, said Alex. Meanwhile, Armstrong was ready to make his move. It's my turn and I summon the tuner monster Iron Chain Coil in attack mode, said Armstrong. A small figure with a head of a nutcracker then appeared with an attack of 1100. Next I activate the spell card Double Summon and summon another Iron Chain Snake in attack mode, said Armstrong. Another Iron Chain Snake then appeared with an attack of 800. Now I tune my Iron Chain Coil with my Iron Chain Snake to synchro summon Iron Chain Dragon, said Armstrong. A metal dragon that looked like it was made out of chains then appeared with an attack of 2500. Now I attack your monster with my Iron Chain Dragon, shouted Armstrong. I don't think so, because I activate my trap card Samurai Soul. By sacrificing my Zanji, your attack is negated and your face down card is destroyed as well, said Yusei. Armstrong's face down card was then destroyed. You just got lucky, satellite. My next turn you will lose all your life points and I will win this duel. Besides, I don't believe in this thing you call a shadow game, said Armstrong. It's my turn, Armstrong, and I draw, said Yusei. Good, I got the card I need to win this duel right here in my hand, thought Yusei, smiling. Now I activate the spell card Double Dragon Summon. By removing any level dragon-type monster from my graveyard from play, I am allowed to summon 2 dragon-type monster from my hand or deck with the same level. Now I remove my Blue Eyes White Dragon from my graveyard to summon Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon and Mirror Force Dragon from my deck in attack mode, said Yusei. There was a flash of light and 2 dragons appeared. One looked like a more powerful version of the Blue Eyes White Dragon and the other one was a black and gray metal looking dragon with 4 wings with a gold orb on its head with attacks of 3400 and 2800. Now I attack your Iron Chain Dragon with my Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon and attack you directly with Mirror Force Dragon, said Yusei. With that, Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon destroyed Iron Chain Dragon and then Mirror Force Dragon attack Armstrong directly, making him lose the rest of his life points. Armstrong 0 LP, Yusei 2400 LP. How could I lose to someone like this stupid satellite, thought Armstrong. He then looked up and saw Yusei was looking at him straight in the eyes. Since you lost this shadow game, Chief Armstrong, your soul is going to be sent to rest forever in the Shadow Realm, said Yusei. With that, the pyramid of light glowed a brighter color of gold and Chief Armstrong screamed at the top of his lungs as he felt his soul being sent to the Shadow Realm. When the light was gone, Chief Armstrong's body fell to the floor lifeless. What happened to Chief Armstrong? Asked one of the guards. I don't know, but something tells me he is no longer alive, replied the other guard. All of a sudden, Yusei felt Sakura come from behind him and gave him a hug. Yusei, you beat Chief Armstrong. I never doubted you would win against him, said Sakura. What did you accept, Sakura? I am a good duelist and won the signers, replied Yusei, giving Sakura a kiss. Good job, Yusei, beating Chief Armstrong. But how come he looks dead? Asked Tanner. Because he lost to me in a shadow game. His soul was sent to the Shadow Realm to rest there forever, replied Yusei. You mean you really did play a shadow game, Yusei, like the ancient Egyptians did 5,000 years ago? Asked Yanagi. Yes, I did, Yanagi, and Chief Armstrong is not going to bother anyone ever again. And Alex, what are you still doing here? I thought you were going to leave here, said Yusei. Well, you see, Yusei, when you were dueling Chief Armstrong, I thought about what you said about Tanner and Yanagi being your friends and realized that it would not be true freedom if you had to leave them behind, replied Alex. All of a sudden Yusei turned around and saw Rex Godwin standing across the platform from him. What do you want, Godwin? Asked Yusei in an angry tone. Well, I saw your little duel with Chief Armstrong and came to congratulate you on winning the duel, and since Chief Armstrong can no longer be warden of the facility, then I will just have to replace him, replied Godwin. There more to that, is there? Tell me right now why you are here before I send you to where I sent Chief Armstrong, said Yusei in a threatened voice. Well, I figure I that tell you that you and your girlfriend Sakura are free to leave the facility, and replied Godwin. So we're free to just leave and go where we please like that? Asked Sakura. That is what I am saying, young lady. You can leave within the hour, replied Godwin. With that he left. An hour later Yusei and Sakura were at the front entrance getting ready to say goodbye to everybody. So I guess this is goodbye for now, you two. I wish you good luck out there, said Alex. Thanks a lot, Alex, said Sakura. Yeah, and I hope you get out soon, Alex, said Yusei. Yusei, I want to give you something before you go, said Yanagi. What is it, Yanagi? Asked Yusei. With that, Yanagi give Yusei one of his cards. Why are you giving me one of your cards? Asked Yusei, confused. Because something tells me you can get some more use out of it than me, replied Yanagi. Thanks a lot, Yanagi. I promise I will take good care of it, said Yusei. I got some to give you to Yusei, said Tanner, handing Yusei his giant Ushi Oni card. There's man named Saiga in a bar called the Bootleg in New Domino City. Show him that card and he will be to help you get back, you duel runner, said Tanner. Thanks for the information, Tanner. We will go see him right away, replied Yusei. You better take good care of this guy, Sakura, said Tanner. You can count on me to make sure me and Yusei get there in one piece, replied Sakura. With that they said their goodbyes and started on their way to meet the man Saiga. Meanwhile, up in the security room, Rex Godwin was watching Yusei and Sakura leave the facility. Mr. Godwin, is it such a good idea to have that Yusei Fudo and his girlfriend roaming the streets of New Domino City as they wish? Asked Lazar. Who said that they were going to be going as they wish, Mr. Lazar? You see, since Chief Armstrong was able to make Yusei's mark of the dragon appear, I have arranged a trap for Yusei to make the mark appear, replied Godwin, smiling. Meanwhile, in Ally, a man on a duel runner watch as Yusei and Sakura were leaving the facility. You better watch your step, Yusei Fudo, because I am going to pay you back for giving me this scar on my face, said the man, taking off his helmet and revealing a scar on his face. After leaving the facility a few hours ago, Yusei and Sakura were now in the cafe district of New Domino City, heading for the bootleg bar to go see the man Saiga that Tanner told them could get Yusei back, his duel ruiner. As they were walking, Sakura decided to tell Yusei something. Yusei, I need to tell you something before we get to the bar to meet this Saiga person, said Sakura. What is it, Sakura, that you have to tell me? Asked Yusei, curious. Well, remember when you were dueling Chief Armstrong and everyone was watching you, said Sakura. Yeah, how could I not forget that happening, Sakura, replied Yusei. Well, you see, during the duel I got a letter from Lady Tsunade by messenger slug saying she was here in New Domino City and wanted to know why I had not sent a report back on how the search for you was going, said Sakura. So Lady Tsunade is here in New Domino City. So what did you tell her? Asked Yusei. Yes, she is, and I sent her a letter back saying I found you and that you go by your new name of Yusei, and told her to meet us at the bar we are heading to. But there's something else that I need to tell you to Yusei, and it is important, replied Sakura. So what is it that you need to tell me right now? Asked Yusei, confused. Well, you see, 3 years ago Orochimaru attacked the village. There was a big battle between Lady Tsunade and Orochimaru. Lady Tsunade ended up killing Orochimaru after a big chakra explosion from using some powerful jutsu, but there was a side effect of that chakra explosion Lady Tsunade suffered, said Sakura. What kind of side effect did she suffered? Asked Yusei, preparing for the worst news. You see, the chakra explosion reversed the aging process and turned her back into teenager, the same age I was back at that time. After she got over the shock of learning she was now back to being a 15-year-old teenager, we quickly became the best of friends, almost like sisters, and a few months later she admitted to me she had romantic feelings for you since you saved her from Orochimaru when you two first met. But she could never act on them as she was too old for you until that chakra explosion, and that she was sorry for exiling you from the village as the council threatened to have her replaced as Hokage. We both agreed if you were found that we would share you as we both are in love with you. Lady Tsunade said in the letter that she had to give up being Hokage and that Shizune was going to be Hokage now so she could come see you and tell you how sorry she was for ruining your life 6 years ago. Finished Sakura. So Lady Tsunade was in love with me since we met. I did have a huge crush her when we met, but I didn't pursue it as it was against the rules of the village for the Hokage to go out with a shinbo, said Yusei. Well, when we get to the bar you better tell her how you feel about her, Yusei, or her heart will be broken, said Sakura. I will do that, Sakura. But first we better lose those 2 guys in suits that are following us, said Yusei in a low tone. You mean the 2 guys that have been following us since we left the facility, said Sakura. Yep, and something tells me they work for Rex Godwin, replied Yusei. So how do we lose them, Yusei? Asked Sakura. Well, right now we better act like we don't notice them, and when we get to the bar we will give them the slip, replied Yusei. With that they continued on their way to the bar. Meanwhile, hiding an ally, the 2 men in suits were watching Yusei and Sakura walking to the bar. Sparrow, this is Eagle. Do you have the targets in your sights? Asked one of the men talking into a walkie-talkie. I have the targets in my sights right now, Eagle, said another man in a suit in a car watching as Sakura and Yusei walk right past him. Good, we will follow them into the bar and when they least expect it corner them and make Yusei's dragon mark appear like Mr. Godwin told us to, said the other men. Meanwhile, Yusei and Sakura had just came to the bar and went right inside. As soon as they got inside, Yusei and Sakura took a sit and the bartender, who had spiky hair and 2 yellow markers under each eye, looked at them. What can I got you 2 tonight? Asked the bartender. I think we would like some milk, please, asked Yusei. What are you, stupid or something, kid? This is a bar, not a dinner, said the bartender. I would like some milk. Is that too much to ask for? Said Yusei. Why, I should punch you, kid, for asking for some milk, threatened the bartender. Can you 2 keep it down? There are people in here, you know, said a young female voice. Yusei turned around and saw a 18-year-old teenage girl that looked almost identical to Sakura, except she had blonde hair that came down just past her knees and had brown eyes instead of green like Sakura, and was wearing a green t-shirt with a blue jacket and blue jeans with white sneakers, and she had an angry look on her face. Sorry about the yelling, miss, just trying to knock some sense into this kid, said the bartender. Well, just don't try to hurt him, mister, or else you will not like me when I am angry. Besides, I am waiting for 2 of my friends to come meet me here, said the girl. And who would that be, missus? Asked Yusei. Well, if you must know, their names are Sakura and Yusei, and the name's Tsunade if you want to know, replied Tsunade. Tsunade, is that you? Asked Sakura, coming over next to Yusei. Sakura, good to see you made it, but where is Naruto, or Yusei, whatever he calls himself now? Asked Tsunade. That would be me, Lady Tsunade. But you, I prefer to be called Yusei, not Naruto, replied Yusei. Wait, you're saying you're the same kid I remember that liked to pull pranks and told everyone you were going to be Hokage one day? Asked Tsunade, surprised. That would be me. But I have changed a lot in 6 years, as have you, Lady Tsunade. You look very beautiful since the last time I saw you, replied Yusei. Thanks a lot, Yusei, said Tsunade, hiding the blush on her face. Man, when Sakura told me he changed, I didn't think she meant he got a new body, but he is much more handsome than I ever imagined he could. So are you going to give me the milk I order now? Asked Yusei, looking at the bartender. Why, you little brat, shouted the bartender. He then grabbed Yusei by the collar, asking if Yusei was pulling his chain, until Yusei took out the giant Ushi card and showed it to the bartender, who then had a look of shock on his face and then saw the 2 guys in suits walk in and sit down. Sorry about the misunderstanding, kid. Here is your milk, it is on the house, said the bartender, giving Yusei a glass of milk. Thanks a lot, sir, replied Yusei, taking the glass of milk. With that he sat down and drank his milk. The bartender then looked at Yusei. You know there are 2 men in suits sitting behind you. Take your 2 female friends and go outside the back right now, said the bartender in a low voice. Sakura, Tsunade, I think it's time we left out the back right now, said Yusei. Why, you and Sakura just got here? Asked Tsunade, confused. Yusei's right, Tsunade. I think we should leave out the back and we will tell you everything once we get rid of the 2 men in suits that just follow us in, replied Sakura. With that they all got up and went out the back. When they got outside they saw the 2 men had followed them right out. Yusei Fudo, I think you should come with us right now, said one of the men. Why would I do that? Ask Yusei, because we are under orders by Rex Godwin to bring you in so he can find your mark of the dragon, replied the man. I don't think so. Yusei is not going anywhere with you, said Sakura. And what are you two little girls going to do to us? Asked one of the men mockingly. How about I kick both your butts right now, replied Tsunade, cracking her fist. All of a sudden there was a sound of an engine and a man on a dual runner with a sidecar jump off a roof and stop right in front of Yusei, Sakura, and Tsunade. You three better hop on if you don't want to be sent to the facility, said the rider. With that, Yusei jump on the dual runner behind the rider while Sakura and Tsunade jump into the sidecar. With the sound of burning rubber they took off down the alley. One of the men quickly took out a tracking device but quickly lost Yusei and Sakura's signal. We better call in some helicopters and search the area and call Mr. Godwin and tell him we lost Yusei Fudo, said the man. Meanwhile, the rider was racing down the street and was holding a jamming device over Yusei and Sakura's trackers. Thanks for the save, but who are you? Asked Tsunade. The name's Saiga, and let me guess you must be friends of Tanner's, said Saiga. That would be right. So where are you taking us? Asked Yusei. I am taking you to my home where you should be safe for a while, replied Saiga. With that they rode in silence. After 2 hours of riding they came to what looked like an abandoned office and went inside and rest. Yusei then saw that Saiga was typing on a laptop. So what are you? Asked Yusei. I am not sure myself, but I can get you anything you want and don't worry about paying me. Tanner already paid me before he went to the facility. So what kind I get you? Asked Saiga. I need to get into Sector Security's warehouse to get back my dual runner, replied Yusei. You got to be kidding me. Why would you want to go there for a dual runner? Asked Saiga, shocked. Because that dual runner means a lot to me and my friends back in the satellite, replied Yusei. Well, don't blame me if you get caught, which you will, said Saiga, making Yusei a fake ID saying he was an electrician named Taro Daimon. As he was typing, Yusei went over and saw a picture of a young Saiga with another man holding a trophy, and below it was a damage machiner's sniper card next to it. Saiga, did you used to be a duelist? Asked Yusei, looking at the picture. You know it is rude to go through other people's stuff, shouted Saiga. Out of nowhere Saiga was punched in the head by Tsunade and Sakura. You know it is rude to yell at people that are asking you about something, said Sakura. Yeah, and if you don't want to be sent to the hospital then you better answer Yusei's question right now, said Tsunade, holding up her fist. Fine, if you must know, I used to be a tag team duelist, but I wasn't a pro. I just competed in the exhibition leagues. Now if you can drop the subject, I found the password to the warehouse, but you will probably end up back at the facility with your 2 female friends, replied Saiga. That's a chance, I will have to take that chance, said Yusei. With that he left Saiga alone and went over to Sakura and Tsunade, who had a look that said she had a lot of questions she wanted to be answered. Okay, you two, can you tell me what those yellow marks on your face are for? Asked Tsunade. These are tracker markers so Sector Security can keep track of people from the satellite, replied Sakura. Fine. But how did Yusei here get a new body when he should have blonde hair, blue eyes and whisker marks on his face? Asked Tsunade. Well, you see, the 9-tailed fox Kyubi give up her life to give me a new body and send me here to New Domino City, where I was adopted by my parents Yugi and Alexis Mutu until they died in a car accident when I was sent to the satellite to live, replied Yusei. That would explain why you have a new body, and I feel sorry you lost your adoptive parents. Now last question. What did that man in the suit mean about finding your mark of the dragon? Asked Tsunade. Well, you see, I am what is called a signer, and I bear a mark of a beast called the Crimson Dragon, replied Yusei. You mean as in the Crimson Dragon that the people of the stars worship, said Tsunade. You know about the Crimson Dragon and the people of the stars? Asked Sakura, surprised. Of course. You see, many years ago I was told by grandfather, the first Hokage, about the legend of the people of the stars and the Crimson Dragon, and of course about the 5 signers. It was passed down the family tree, and he said that one of our ancestors was from that tribe. But I never thought that one of the signers was right in our village, and the container of the 9-tailed fox no less, replied Tsunade. Well, it is getting late. I think I will head to my room, as it looks like you and Yusei have a lot to talk about, said Sakura. What do you mean by that? Asked Yusei. You know what I was talking about earlier as we were heading to the bar, replied Sakura. Now I remember what you were talking about, Sakura. Thanks a lot, said Yusei. I will see you in the morning, Yusei, said Sakura, giving a kiss on the cheek. Good night. With that she left them alone. Yusei then looked at Tsunade. I think we need to discuss some things, Tsunade. But not here, we should go talk in my room, said Yusei. Sure, wherever you felt comfortable, Yusei, said Tsunade. With that they headed to Yusei's room and closed the door behind them. Tsunade then looked at Yusei. So what do you want to talk about, Yusei? Asked Tsunade. Well, Sakura told me about the battle you had with Orochimaru that turned you back into a teenager. But she also told me you had been in love with me since we first met when I saved you from Orochimaru. So is it true, Tsunade? Are you in love with me? Asked Yusei. Yes, it is true, Yusei. I have been in love with you since we met, but I could not tell you how I felt back then, as it was against the law for the Hokage to go out with a shinbo. I have felt bad about having to exile you 6 years ago from the village, and I have felt there was a piece of me missing when you were gone. I will understand if you don't want to forgive me and don't feel the same way about me, replied Tsunade with tears in her eyes. Yusei then took Tsunade's face and held it up to his. I know it wasn't your fault that I was exiled, but the council who saw me as a demon. So I do forgive you, and to tell the truth, I have had a huge crush on you since I first laid eyes on you, and I can honestly say that I do love you with all my heart, as I do love Sakura the same way, replied Yusei. You act so different from what you were 6 years ago, and of course you act more mature than your father, the 4th Hokage, said Tsunade. You mean the 4th Hokage was my birth father? Asked Yusei, surprised. Yes, he was, and he had no choice, tail fox within you, as he couldn't bear to put the burden on anyone else's child, replied Tsunade. Well, I have to thank him, because if he didn't do that I would never have met Kyuubi and become the person I am now. Not to mention have the 2 most beautiful girls in the world that I love right here with me, said Yusei. Meanwhile, outside, the man who had followed Yusei and Sakura from the facility was now outside the building, where he saw them come with Saiga and Tsunade. The man who had followed them was none other than Officer Trudge, who had received the scar on his face from dueling Yusei in the tunnel when a piece of garbage had hit him in the face. You may have given me the slip back in the satellite, Yusei, but now I will be prepared when you go after your duel runner, and you and your 2 female friends can spend the rest of your lives back at the facility, said Trudge, smiling. The next morning Yusei woke up and noticed that Tsunade was not in the bed. Yusei decided to get up and get ready for the day. He then got out of bed and went to the bathroom and took a shower. He then put on his clothes and went out the door and saw Sakura and Tsunade were sitting at a table eating breakfast. Good morning, Yusei, said Tsunade. Yeah, good morning, Yusei, said Sakura as well. Well, good morning to the both of you, replied Yusei, taking a seat at the table. I hope you like the breakfast that Saiga was kind enough to make, but I am afraid he has no ramen here, said Tsunade. It okay, and anyways I give up eating ramen about 6 years ago when I got to New Domino City, replied Yusei, taking a plate of food. You have changed a lot. I remember when you ate nothing but ramen all the time, said Sakura. With that they started to eat their breakfast. After they finish eating their breakfast and they clean up, Tsunade decide to tell Yusei something. Yusei, me and Sakura have something to tell you, said Tsunade. What is it? Asked Yusei. Well, when you were sleeping last night, me and Sakura asked Saiga to make us some fake ID so we can help you get your duel runner back from sector security, said Tsunade. Why would the 2 of you risk coming with me to the sector security warehouse when I will probably be caught by them and sent back to the facility, as would the both of you if you both come? Asked Yusei. Because we both love you, and besides your chances are better of getting your duel runner back if you have us backing you up, replied Sakura. I guess there's no changing your minds from going with me, is there? Asked Yusei. No, there is not, Yusei. So it looks like you will have to deal with the both of us, replied Tsunade. Well, I could not have anyone better to back me up than the 2 of you. We should get going within 2 hours so we can get to the warehouse and get back my duel runner, said Yusei. With that they prepared to leave for the warehouse. 2 hours later they were ready to leave when Saiga gave Yusei a bag full of stuff he would need to get into the warehouse. Why are you going to the warehouse to get back your duel runner when you know you and your 2 female friends are going to get caught and be sent to the facility? Asked Saiga. Because the bonds of my friends are in that warehouse, and besides I am just taking back what is mine, replied Yusei, looking at the picture on the table. I understand you, Yusei. You see, I once had a friend named Kyuji until one day he got into an accident when we were in the middle of a turbo duel and he got badly hurt, and he will never be able to ride a duel runner again. That card was sent to me by him as he does not want us to be friends. You are better off without any friends, Yusei, and I would advise you and your 2 female friends just go and not go after your duel runner, as it is not worth it. said Saiga in a sad tone. Well, I can't do that, Saiga, as that duel runner means a lot to me and my friends back at the satellite, said Yusei. With that, Yusei left with Sakura and Tsunade out the door, leaving Saiga alone. You are nuts if you think you and your friends can pull this off, thought Saiga. Once they were out of the building, they started to head to the sector security warehouse. Once they reached the building, Yusei along with Sakura and Tsunade, disguised with hats hiding their faces, enter the building and headed towards an empty closet. Yusei, how come we didn't use a transformation jutsu to get past the guards instead of hiding our faces under these hats? Asked Sakura. Because you see, when Kyuubi gave up her life to give me my new body and send me here, I lost access to my chakra and can no longer perform any jutsu. Besides, if we tried to transform into one of the sector security officers, they would see right through the jutsu, as all the officers know each other very well, replied Yusei. You're right, Yusei, they probably would see right through it. You have gotten a lot smarter since you were exiled from the village, said Tsunade. With that, they went into the closet and waited for the building to close. After waiting for 3 hours, the lights in the building finally went out and they came out from their hiding place and headed to the top floor where Saiga had located Yusei's duel runner. Once they reached the top floor and they came to the door, Yusei used the ID card that Saiga gave him and gained access to the room. Once they were inside, they saw a room filled with crates. So where is your duel ruiner, Yusei? Asked Sakura. Yeah, and can we tell which crate it is in? Added Tsunade. I have the perfect way of telling which one of these crates has my duel runner, replied Yusei, pulling out a tracking device. With it, he started to scan the room and the device indicated that the duel runner was in the crate in front of them. They then went over to it. But before they could even open it, they were dazzled by lights coming from everywhere. Well, if it isn't Yusei Fudo, and it appears you brought Teo from all friends with you. I knew you would try something, but I would never have thought you would come here to get your duel runner back, said Trudge from a platform above. Well, I did come to get back my duel runner as it belongs to me and my friends, said Yusei. You're wrong, it belongs to New Domino City, as you do, satellite scum. Officers, arrest this satellite and his 2 female friends, ordered Trudge. Before the officers could reach Yusei, he jumped into the crate and started his duel runner and smash right through it and stop in front of Sakura and Tsunade. You two better hop on if you don't want to be arrested and get sent to the facility, said Yusei. You don't have to tell me twice, Yusei, said Sakura. You can count me in, added Tsunade. With that, they both quickly hop on the duel runner and sat behind Yusei, and they took off with Trudge following right behind him on his duel runner as they barely made through a closing door. You're not leaving this place, Yusei, and you are going to duel me right now if you want to escape with your freedom, said Trudge. Fine, have it your way, Trudge, but you are going to lose and me and my friends are going to escape from here, replied Yusei. With that, both duel runners' duel modes activated and displayed both their life points. I go first and I summon Elemental Hero Sparkman in defense mode and set 1 card face down and end my turn, said Yusei. A warrior dressed in blue and gold appeared on the field in defense mode with 1400 defense points. Is that all you got, Yusei? Because I summon Search Striker in attack mode, said Trudge. A man made out of black metal then appeared with an attack of 1600. Now I attack your Sparkman with my Search Striker, said Trudge. With that, Search Striker destroyed Sparkman. Thanks, Trudge, because now I activate my trap card Magician's Circle, which allows me to summon a spellcaster monster with 2000 or less attack points from my deck or hand, and I choose to summon Dark Magician Girl, said Yusei. A woman with blonde hair and green eyes dressed in pink and blue cloths with a blue hat appeared with 2000 attack points. Well, nice trick, Yusei, but it will not work as I set 1 card face down and end my turn, said Trudge. There's got to be a way out. Oh, what, Yusei looking for a way out. Meanwhile, the officers were monitoring the duel and closing any doors Yusei was going to escape through. Okay, Trudge, it's my turn and I play the spell card Graceful Charity, which allows me to draw 3 cards from my deck, but I have to send 2 of my cards to the graveyard. Next, I summon Destiny Hero Diamond Dude in attack mode, said Yusei. A man then appeared dressed in black cloths and a cape with diamonds sticking out of him with 1400 attack points. Now I attack you, Search Striker, with Dark Magician Girl, said Yusei. I don't think so, Yusei, because I activate the trap card Widespread Ruin, which destroys the monster with the highest attack on your side of the field, which means your Dark Magician Girl is destroyed, said Trudge. Dark Magician Girl then was destroyed. Fine, I end my turn, said Yusei. Yusei, how are we going to escape from here? Asked Sakura. I don't know, but we will all escape together, replied Yusei. How can we do that if they are closing all the doors, said Tsunade. Maybe I can help, said Saiga, voice coming from the speakers in the building. Saiga, is that you? How can you help us escape? Asked Yusei. Do as I say and head to the door on your right, replied Saiga. Okay, where you say, said Yusei, heading to the door. Where do you think you are going, satellite scum? Said Trudge, following them. I am getting out of here, said Yusei. When they got to the door, it exploded and they found themselves falling down elevator chute. Yusei quickly reached the bottom and the doors close, but Trudge quickly smashed right through them and caught up to them outside and started to ram Yusei's duel runner. You're not going anywhere, satellite scum. We still have a duel to finish. Now I summon the tuner monster Trapart in attack mode, said Trudge. A monster then appeared that looked like two clowns that were glued to a disc with an attack of 600. Now I tune my Trapart with my search striker to synchro summon Goyo Guardian, said Trudge. A man dressed in old Japanese cloths with white face paint on his face appeared with 2,800 attack points. Now I attack your diamond dude with my Goyo Guardian, said Trudge. With that, Goyo Guardian destroyed diamond dude. Trudge 4000 LP, Yusei 2600 LP. Now thanks to my monster's effect, your diamond dude is summoned to my side of the field in defense mode, said Trudge. Diamond dude then appeared on Trudge's side of the field with 1600 defense points. You have no chance of winning this duel and escaping, said Trudge. Out of nowhere, Trudge's duel runner was sent backwards by Saiga on his duel runner as he came right next to Yusei and they left Trudge behind. Saiga, what are you doing here? Asked Yusei, confused. I came to see if you were right about this bonds of friendship, said Saiga. Well, it is good to see you, Saiga, said Sakura. Yeah, you arrive right on time, added Tsunade. Don't thank me yet because I still don't believe in having friends, said Saiga. All of a sudden Trudge reappeared next to them. Give up, you guys. This duel is still on and I am going to win it, said Trudge. He is right, Yusei, we better give up, said Saiga. I will never give up, and besides you're still holding on to your bonds of friendship, Saiga, said Yusei. What do you mean? Asked Saiga, getting upset. I mean, look at that card that Kyuji gave you. He must have saved it from the fire of the accident as he tried to fix it up and probably gave it to you so you would not forget about you two being friends forever, said Yusei. After thinking about it for a minute, Saiga decided Yusei was right and started to hold Trudge back from ramming Yusei and making him lose the duel. Yusei, you're right. I will hold this guy back while you finish the duel, shouted Saiga. Thanks a lot, Saiga, replied Yusei. How are you going to win this duel, Yusei, when I have two monsters and you have nothing on your field? Said Trudge, smiling. Like this, Trudge. First I activate the spell card Monster Reborn and summon from my graveyard the monster Kyubi, Queen of the Foxes, said Yusei. A young woman then appeared with red hair and eyes, dressed in an old Japanese dress with fox ears and 9 foxtails with a katana strapped to her side with an attack of 3,500. Now I activate her effect by sending 2 cards from my hand to the graveyard. I can summon 2 monsters from my deck ignoring the summoning conditions. I summon in attack mode the Egyptian god card Obelisk the Tormentor and the Sacred Beast Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, said Yusei. There was lightning and thunder, and when it was all over there now stood the Egyptian god card Obelisk the Tormentor and the Sacred Beast Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, each with an attack of 4000. Now I play the spell card Synchro Tuner Summon and summon from my deck Cyber Dragon and Counselor Lily in attack mode, said Yusei. Cyber Dragon and Counselor Lily then appeared on the field. Next I activate the spell card Double Synchro Summon, which allows me to synchro summon 2 synchro monsters using just 1 tuner and any number of non-tuner monsters. Now I tune my Counselor Lily with Cyber Dragon to synchro summon Stardust Dragon and Red Dragon Archfiend in attack mode, said Yusei. With that, Stardust Dragon and Red Dragon Archfiend appeared with attacks of 2,500 and 3,000. Now I attack you with all my monsters at once, Trudge, and win this duel, said Yusei. With that, all of Yusei's monsters attacked Trudge and destroyed all his monsters and made him lose all his life points. Trudge 0 LP, Yusei 2600 LP. All of a sudden Saiga fell over with Trudge and told Yusei, Sakura and Tsunade to go on without him. They then made out of the building. Yusei, is Saiga going to be alright? Asked Sakura. I don't know, Sakura, but something tells me he will be alright and get away, replied Yusei. Well, something tells me you're right, Yusei, and thanks for winning that duel and getting us out of there, said Tsunade. I wouldn't thank me yet, Tsunade, we still have to lose the rest of sector security, said Yusei. As soon as he said that, they saw a crowd of sector security waiting for them up ahead. Yusei then steps on the gas on his dual runner and rides right through them. As he does, sector security managed to give Yusei a big electric shock before he could make it through. Yusei managed to hang on and they quickly got away. After 5 minutes of riding, Yusei passed out from the electric shock and fell off his dual runner. Yusei, are you alright? Asked Sakura as she and Tsunade ran over to him. It looks like he passed out from that electric shock they gave him. We better find place to hid until he recovers, said Tsunade, looking Yusei over. At that moment in the building, two twins with green hair named Luna and Luca had woken up when Luna woke up with a start. Luna, are you alright? Asked Luca to his sister. I don't know, Luca, but something tells me we should go outside as I have a feeling there is someone who needs our help, replied Luna. With that, they quickly put on their cloths and went out their bedroom and went downstairs to the lobby of their building, and when they got outside they saw two 18-year-old teenage girls, one with blonde hair and brown eyes and the other one with pink hair and green eyes, kneeling over a teenage boy their age with black spiky hair with yellow lines on the side of his head pass out. Luna quickly ran over to them before Luca had a chance to protest. Ah, excuse you two, what happened to your friend there and why is he on the ground? Asked Luna. Sakura and Tsunade turned and saw a little girl with green hair tied in two pigtails looking at them. Our friend got a big electric shock when we were running from sector security, said Sakura. You were running from sector security. So why should we help you? Asked Luca, running over to his sister. Because he is hurt and needs someplace to rest as we do. Can you please help us? Asked Tsunade, begging. We should really help these people, Luca. Their friend looks like he needs help, said Luna. Fine, Luna, we will help them. You two ladies pick your friend up and Luna will lead you to our apartment and I will put your friend's dual runner away in a safe place, said Luca. Thank you very much, young man, said Sakura. You too, added Tsunade. With that, Tsunade and Sakura picked Yusei up and carried him by putting one arm over each of them and followed Luna while Luca took Yusei's dual runner and followed them into the building. The end. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next part.